Andreas Johnson stood on the podium as the winner of round 10 in Croatia, and in doing so took his third Grand Prix victory of the year. But it wasn't the Swede who made the headlines that night, but Greg Hancock, who became 2011 world champion on a dramatic night in Gorzow. The likeable American clinched the vital points needed in Heat 20 after his nearest rival, Poland's Jarek Campbell, failed to win the heat, dropping a point which inevitably gave Hancock the title. 14 years after his first World Championship, Hancock lays claim to becoming now the oldest world champion in Speedway's illustrious history at the age of 41 years young. 2 weeks on, has it sunk in for the American?
It's kind of hard to explain. I'm always lost for words when people say it, you know, and I still have this casual little smile, but I think once it's officially mine, you know, like totally officially, it's really gonna let loose, you know, but I'm pretty darn happy, pretty excited, and it's been one hell of a year.
After the celebrations, the new world champion got straight back to business, joining Johnson, Harris and Lindgren in the final. Unfortunately for the newly crowned champion, no podium finish this time. For Sweden's Andreas Johnson, 18 points saw him take over Poland's Jarek Campbell by 1 point for the silver medal slot, but both riders know it's going to go down to the wire for the medals.
You know, it's really hard, but yeah, it's the last one. So I try to be smart and clever on the track and in Gorzow to improve and get the silver medal.
I need to have 5 or maybe 7 great heats, you know, before I can finish the season and do it with a goal.
So we arrive in Gorzow, Poland for the final round of the 2011 series with a major announcement by the race organisers BSI of the championship in 2012, moving to new horizons. The opening round is going down under to New Zealand.
And we feel to be a true world championship, you've got to go outside Europe. New Zealand's got a rich tradition of speedway down there with Ronnie Moore, Barry Briggs and Ivan Major, and it seems fitting that we can go down there. We found a great little stadium, Western Springs in Auckland, and I think the riders would enjoy the track down there as well.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Gorzow here in Poland for the final round of the 2011 World Speedway Championship, the FIM Enia Gorzow Speedway Grand Prix of Poland. We're live from the Edward Janczak Stadium, where it has been very wet in the build-up to the meeting, and there has been extensive track work to ensure that this meeting goes ahead on time, and the riders are about to make their way out onto the track in this magnificent purpose-built arena. Kelvin Tatum alongside me tonight. Kelv, you've had a close look at track conditions and monitored the track work that has taken place. Looks like it may just have done the trick in the nick of time.
Yeah, they've worked furiously hard in the last hour, there's no question about that. They've bladed off all the loose, sloppy material. They've actually put plenty of new material on top of that. We've had a window in the weather. It's actually stopped raining, which has allowed them to work really very hard indeed to try and get this Grand Prix underway on time. Riders coming out, plenty of people in the stadium, fantastic atmosphere, as always here in Gorzow, but conditions will be tricky nights, no question about that. Riders will be uncertain, very different conditions than they experienced yesterday, of course, in training.
Very much so. Practice, you could argue, goes out of the window with circumstances like this. The riders are walking out, actually. They're not coming out the traditional way. They're actually walking out onto the opposite side of the stadium to the start-finish line, which is where a parade normally takes place, and that obviously to allow the track staff just to continue with a little bit of work on the circuit here at Gorzow. We were here in July for the Speedway World Cup, that memorable World Cup final when Thomas Golub turned it all around with the Polish side, and it did show that this track can provide some excellent racing that night. Will we get some good racing this evening? I suspect the riders are going to just take their time to really weigh up the track conditions. But of course, as is the tradition, we have the host nation's national anthem. Well, there is one heck of an atmosphere here in this stadium tonight. It is a packed house. It's been sold out for quite some time. And as we take a look down the lineup tonight, we see Kamil Polsinski, one of the talented crop of young Polish riders that's coming through the system. He starts as reserve in tonight's action here and gets a standing ovation from this fantastic crowd here. Bartosz Smalczyk is the second reserve, number 17 this evening. First time we've seen these boys on the Grand Prix stage, and good experience for them to be at reserve.
Wow.
Darcy Ward as wildcard, second appearance of the year in the GP.
Looking forward to that. Certainly first time out. He was on the roster and finished third, of course, in Toron. Brilliant display from him. Looking forward to seeing him once again tonight.
Kolodze has had a very troubled season.
Yeah, he's found it very difficult. He had that crash early doors in Leszno, really has never recovered, has not shown any sort of form tonight this season. Antonio Limbach, though, has had some high spots, and of course he's in the Grand Prix proper through the challenge for next season.
Yep, so from that point of view, it's been a success for him. Artem Laguta, who's looked a lot better since he got over his illness and has scored some points recently.
Yeah, he's shown flashes of form, but overall he's found the Grand Prix tough this year. Be an experience. This man again has been has had some high moments, but again injuries have certainly curtailed some of his performances. He'll be looking for a big performance tonight.
Now, Freddie Lindgren, 10 points outside of the top 8 right now, but he has got through to the final in the last 2 rounds, Kelvin.
Yeah, he has, and he's been really putting plenty of pressure on those top 8 riders, desperate to try and force his way in there. And Freddie Lindgren, you know, he's a talented rider. We see it in the domestic leagues. He rides so well. Sometimes on the Grand Prix stage doesn't perform, but of late, he's looked much more like it.
Now, Nicky Pedersen, 3 times world champion, has had a miserable run of form. 4 points in Goroshan, only 3 in Melilla, 6 in Toron, so it's a tough time. And now this man, by contrast, has had an absolute purple patch after a tricky start to the year.
3 Grand Prix wins in the second half of the season. Andreas Jonsson, a Grand Prix winner in the past, but never had the consistency. We're seeing it now. Holder, though, he has struggled again in the second half of the season. He's in 8th place, under a little bit of pressure to hang on in there.
Very much so. 3 wins in the last 5 rounds for Jonsson, very much a form-man. Kenneth Bier right now currently occupying 7th spot. The Dane, 7 points in the last round in Gorisham. Now, Chris Harris needs a big round tonight to keep the organisers on their toes in terms of picking him for next year.
I would agree with that. It was a much improved performance. Here's the world champion. What a fabulous season he's had, Greg Hancock. 41 years of age, ever present in the Grand Prix. 2-time world champion.
And they are making some noise for Greg Hancock. It was their own Thomas Golub last year. Now it's Greg Hancock as the world champion. He will be crowned with the trophy later tonight. Rune Holter, who's riding through the pain barrier with those damaged wrists, and suspects that he will be winding down after tonight. Jason Crump, who will be sadly heading back to Australia for the funeral of his grandfather, Neil Street, who died last week. So no doubt Jason looking to put on a good display tonight. Now, Jarek Hampel, who was the challenger for the title for the large part of the season, but now finds himself in 3rd place, Kelvin.
Yeah, fighting to fill the silver medal. Of course, the outgoing world champion, Thomas Golub. A disappointing defence for this championship this year. Terrific reception he gets. Of course, he rides here for Gorzow in the extra league in Poland, but he just hasn't been able to produce the startling performances in the Grand Prix this year.
Do you know, he's only scored 30 points since Cardiff in 5 rounds.
That is quite staggering, and he's far, far better than that. After the World Cup, you know, he hasn't been able to perform very well.
He goes off gate 4 in the first race.
Chris Harris.
Can he keep going after Croatia?
It's been a difficult season. He'd love to go out on a high.
As it has for Nicky Pedersen, another difficult year.
Greg Hancock.
The new world champion. How will he go tonight?
He's had his high moments this year.
Looking a lot better and more suited to life in the Grand Prix.
Chris Holder.
Looking for a strong performance in the last Grand Prix.
Darcy Ward.
One of the most spectacular riders in the world.
Andreas Jonsson.
He really is flying high at the moment, Andreas Jonsson.
Freddie Lindgren.
Needs a big performance again to give himself a chance for next year.
Can he finish the season off in style?
Now, what Kenneth Bier will turn up tonight, we wonder.
Jarek Hampel.
Can he get the silver medal tonight?
Jason Crump.
Well, triple world champion looking to go out on a high.
Emil Seyfuddinov.
Another rider looking to finish the season well.
Well, the word coming through from the pits just to confirm that there will be a slight delay to the start of tonight's action. We normally get underway at around 12 minutes past, but there will be a slight delay because they are going to put some more dry material down. They've already done a pretty good job on the track, it has to be said, but they put some dry material down, and I'm quite sure they're reloading the dry material into the pits area now. So not quite sure as to the exact time we're going to get underway, but shouldn't be too long, Kelvin. You'd think that we should be on with the action pretty soon.
Well, fingers crossed that we get on with it. I'm sure riders will be. This is a difficult time for riders. They're keen to get on with it. They've been introduced to the crowd. This is the moment when you want to get on your motorbike and get on with it. But, you know, they're experienced guys, and they'll just have to be patient until the track and the authorities feel that the track is ready for action.
Very much so. This stadium, magnificent. Chris Holder leading a big display tonight. He knows that he's put himself under a little bit of pressure for the top 8.
Just slipped in the second half of the season. Jason Crump has had, by his very high standards, a slightly disappointing season, and looks like he's going to finish outside the top 3. A huge performance tonight may just see him creep in there if Hampel or Jonsson slip up tonight, but his record of finishing in the top 3 in the last 10 years is under threat tonight.
Well, Darcy Ward, precious young talent, in for a big future, no doubt about that. And
so exciting to watch Darcy Ward.
Absolutely. He was brilliant in Torrent, no doubt about that. The new material is coming down onto the track as we speak, which means that we can grab a word with Darcy Ward down in the pits.
Darcy, probably the most important 3 days in your Speedway career. Another Grand Prix, the final World Under-21 round, and then a big night for Paul on Monday.
Yeah, it's been a bit exciting. It's going to be a hard couple of days, but we're up for it. It's a cold night here in Gorzow, but you've got to make with what they've given to you.
How much did Torrent give you the feeling that you're in good company at this level of Speedway?
Pretty good. I had a good meeting and everything, so I'm just going to be trying to do the same thing and have a good night.
A little delay now. Have you had a look at the track? Is it sticky, patchy? How is it?
I think it'll be a bit slippery and starts will be crucial, but you know, wet tracks normally create a bit of dirt out wide, so hopefully can play to my advantage and we can make some good speedway, which is going to be hard tonight, but we're all good riders. We know what we're doing.
Good. Thanks for your time. Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, so Grand Prix tonight. It's the World Under-21 final, which is in Poland tomorrow.
Yeah, Gniezno tomorrow afternoon. And, of course, he's 9 points behind in that. Of course, it looks like Janowski, the leader there, looking in control of that. And, of course, Monday night is another huge night, of course, for Darcy Ward with the second leg of the playoff final in the UK. And it'll be an interesting meeting there for sure.
It's a big night for Chris Holder as well tonight. He could do with a decent display. He's in the pits with Steve Brandon now.
Chris, I just spoke to Darcy Ward. He seems to be taking all this in his stride quite well.
He's hiding it well then. It's for him it's another meeting, you know. He just come and do what he can and do his best, and you know, I think my one's a bit more pressure. I need to stay in that top 8, so I want to get off to a good start tonight, and you know, the track's not the best at the moment, but you know, I got gate 1 in the first one, so let's hope I can make it count.
Big couple of days for you and him with the World Under-21 tomorrow, but Monday night really important for your season.
Yeah, Monday, it all comes down to Monday night pretty much in England, so we've got 8 points to peg back, and I think we can do it. Everyone feels good. Waddy's going to be back, so you know, we're going to be firing on all cylinders on Monday.
Thinking about the Grand Prix for a minute this year, I mean, you're 8th as you were last year. I'm sure tonight there's points to be made. You'd love to finish higher, improve on last year.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I'm only 3 points from 5th, so that's the way I'm looking at it, not looking sort of behind me. And, you know, 1 race win there and I'm up 3 points and I'm back in the race. So, you know, tonight's mega important for me.
Second season in the Grand Prix, harder or easier than the first?
It's definitely, well, it's hard. It's a hard question. It's definitely harder. It seems to be harder every time. And, you know, you probably take it more serious and whatever and it goes backwards. So I've just got to go back to being normal and seeing what I can do.
Good luck once we get started. Thanks.
Mate.
Yeah, Chris Holder, who has a 10-point lead over that man, Freddie Lindgren, who's in 9th place. In an ideal world, wouldn't want to rely on a pick for next year. But he is a fine rider and is on a good run of form in the Grand Prix. Still feeling the effects of a horrendous injury he suffered back in August at Wolverhampton when he crashed at high speed and landed on his head. It was a horrendous crash. Chris Harris, who had a great night in Gorishan a fortnight ago, can he repeat that tonight? Let's find out his thoughts with Steve Brandon.
Chris Harris, outstanding in Gorishan last time out. Got to keep it going tonight, though.
Yeah, definitely. Last Grand Prix was good, so but that's forgotten now, and this is a new start. We all start from zero, and must carry on where I left off the other couple of weeks.
It's taken you a long time to get settled, get going this year. Really, it must be really frustrating for a guy that knows on the Gorzow performance you can compete easily at this level.
Oh, definitely, it has been a testing, hard year for me, but I've learned a lot, and you know, that's all behind us now, and I put all what I've learned to good use now.
And we get to start next year a local Grand Prix in New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm hoping now I just got to show that I'm worthy of a wild card so I can be on that plane to New Zealand.
I mean, you've been here before, pretty much all the guys in the field have been here before. Hold any surprises for anyone?
No, obviously it's going to be a little bit different to what we're used to with the weather and the way the track is now, but you know, we're all world-class riders, so we just got to go out and do our jobs. You know, it's I had a good World Cup here, so I was just going to carry on from that.
Good luck tonight, thank you.
Thank you, mate, cheers.
Yeah, Chris Harris, who has help in the pits tonight.
Upbeat there.
Yeah,
I like his
absolutely.
reaction there. I like that interview. I spoke to him earlier when he was out on the track inspecting it. There's no question that performance fortnight ago really has lifted his spirits, and he's a rejuvenated man, and hopefully he can put in another performance that suggests that he is worthy of a pick for next season.
Well, Freddie Lindgren is currently in 9th place, but he's on a great run of form. Let's get his thoughts ahead of tonight with Steve.
Freddie, the commentators have just said you're on a great run of form. The last 2 rounds have been almost perfect compared to the beginning of the year. You must carry that on tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't say almost perfect, but they've been 2 good rounds, and I've been back on the podium, which has been great. But today's another game, and I just gotta perform really well to be at the top.
I know that you're desperate to be a Grand Prix rider next year and stay in the series, and you've got a point to prove tonight, a point to prove next year if you get back.
Yeah, definitely, especially as we're going to New Zealand as it looks. So, yeah, I really want to be back in the Grand Prix for next year, and I'm going to try and show tonight that I belong amongst the top.
To be in a World Championship that travels right around the globe and starts on the far side of the world, how exciting is that for the riders?
I think everyone is very excited about the news to take this sport out of Europe once again, and yeah, I wish I'm in it, and if I am, I'm really going to look forward to it.
And thoughts on tonight? Big night ahead for everyone?
Yeah, it is, and track is a bit dodgy, so everyone is probably a little bit nervous at the moment, but everyone just want to go out there and get the racing going.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, good words from Freddie Lindgren.
Yeah, good. I like that, and he's absolutely correct when he says it's a little nervy time right now. It is. Don't quite know how the track is going to ride, if you're going to be able to really attack it, or you've got to be a little bit cautious. But you sense at this level, they won't be that cautious. When that green light comes on and the tapes go up, they'll go roaring into that first corner. But starting is going to be hugely important.
Well, Steve Brandon is getting paid per interview tonight. Let's go back down to the
Bit of
pits.
overtime.
He's with Nicky Pedersen now.
Pedersen, home track advantage tonight, but after a year you'd really like to finish on a high.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, we started up really good. You know, I felt good after the start of the season, and then I fell down in a big hole. You know, I haven't really pulled me up since. So it would be really, really nice to finish off. You know, it's the way we started. So I'm trying to be as focused as possible, and hopefully, you know, the little home advantage. I know the weather hasn't proved, but no, I'm ready. You know, I'm doing my very, very best.
Not to be negative, but how frustrating is it when you know how good you are, how good you can be, and it just doesn't come together?
Well, it would be nice to jump on some of the other bikes. You know, I have been on it lately, and that was a tremendous feeling. You know, we're working very, very hard to find the right setup for me. The moment we haven't quite found it yet, you know, but we're fighting, and I'm going to practice the next couple of weeks, so I will find it.
I mean, we've got to finish this year first, but it'll be exciting for everyone to travel the other side of the world to start 2012.
Well, it looks like I need the wild card before I start thinking about things like that anyhow. But no, you know, I feel like, you know, I still got 3-4 years left on the very top. You know, I had a tough season, but I'll be back on the high.
3-4 years. If you look at Greg, you've got at least 8, haven't you?
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, it's we've seen other guys that have been struggling. You know, so no, I'm just concentrating about tonight. You know, and if I get the luck I need, you know, I can still pull into top 8.
Keep concentrating, keep focused. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, never write Nicky Pedersen off. I think
very
that's
determined still, and clearly the fight is there. The hunger to do well at this level is still very much burning in him. And, you know, when you look back at the seasons 07 and 08, when he won back-to-back championships, he can be something special.
Well, down in the pits area, the riders watching on as the track work takes place. If you've just joined us, by the way, welcome to Gorzow in Poland, where we have had a lot of rain and there is dry material being laid. We are actually told that 22 minutes past is push-off time, which is a 10-minute delay, so we'll be on with the action very shortly indeed. Down in the pits is the world champion, Greg Hancock, with Steve.
Shouldn't really say it, but I will say it. Oldest world champion, but more importantly, the world champion this year. Amazing for you, Greg.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, for me, the age is just a number, you know. In the head, I'm a lot younger than I look and than I am. So that's a good thing, but, you know, I'll take it as it is.
You take the title away this year, Captain America, but, you know, there's been some great points of the season. I think the one that sticks out to me for your season, Voyens, Terenzano, 2 great performances under difficult conditions.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the name of the game in the Grand Prix is consistency, you know, and I've tried to keep the focus and looking up all the time. So the big carrot was always there, and eventually I got it. But, you know, it was quite a journey to get there.
I know that tonight's not over yet. We've got a long way to go, but the guys behind you, your team this year, have been a fantastic backroom staff for you.
You got that right. I mean, these guys are the best, and behind every rider is a great crew, you know, and as well as our families that are here tonight too. And I've even got my nephew and my good friends from California, guys I rode Speedway with from the beginning. So thanks for coming, guys. Great to see you.
Good luck tonight, sir.
Thank you.
The ultimate professional, Greg Hancock. He will be a fine world champion, a great ambassador for the sport as well.
Absolutely, Nigel, and he's such a great communicator, and super to see him, and he fully deserves it. Riders now just getting themselves ready for Heat 1, and that's good to see. Just a small delay. And Rennie Holter there, we've spoken about the fact that he's had injury problems this season and has found it very difficult. Of course, last year he enjoyed a fabulous season and finished number 4 in the world, but it may well be his last Grand Prix for Rennie Holter, but you know he's going to want to finish off in style.
Well, the riders then just making their final preparations. Alan Rossiter in the pits with Chris Harris tonight. Roscoe, who is Coventry team manager and worked with Harris at Coventry last year, of course, but Harris is actually at Bellevue, and the Bellevue team manager, Chris Morton, is in the crowd tonight, so it's quite a strange scenario, really.
Yes, it is. One that I'm not quite sure how that works, but Alan Rossiter clearly has a good relationship with Chris Harris, having worked with him in the past, and Chris feels comfortable with him here on these Grand Prix dates. Nicky Pedersen now clearly still wants it. You know, lots of questions about this man. 3 times a world champion. The last 2 seasons have been disappointing. 3 seasons, in actual fact, have been very disappointing. So he's got gate 1, tricky conditions. If he drops the clutch right, he could get off to the perfect start tonight by getting his nose in front. In these conditions, Nige, visibility, tricky conditions, greasy, getting to that first turn, getting out of the first corner in front is going to be really important.
26 points in 5 rounds, the last 5 rounds. That's an average of just over 5 points a round for Nicky Pedersen. Heat number 1 is coming up. Well, the track work has been completed in the nick of time. A 10-minute delay here in Gorzow, which is a small price to pay, because we were a little bit concerned down in the pits area earlier when the rain was coming down. And Kelvin, I know there was a lot of concern, a lot of worry that we may not see any Speedway at all, but here we are, we've got a meeting on.
Which is smashing, because there's a full house here, fabulous atmosphere. It would have been hugely disappointing if the riders couldn't have taken to the track and the weather had got the better. Well, let's fingers crossed that we don't get too much rain later in the night. It is forecast, unfortunately, but let's hope this window of opportunity lasts so we can get right through to the end. But they're making their way around. Kolodze there just had a disappointing season. Hampel, what a big night for him. Plenty of pressure on his shoulders. Desperate to try and clinch the silver medal as he did last year.
Well, the riders coming up to the start then for heat number 1. Packed house, as Kelvin says. But a dry material with the wet material underneath. What sort of combination will that prove to be, I wonder?
Greasy.
Yep.
Tricky.
You've ridden in conditions like this, Kelvin. It's not easy.
It isn't easy. A bit of throttle control is required. But as I said before, the focus on the start and getting to that first turn, hugely important.
So heat number 1 of the Gorzow Grand Prix of Poland is coming up. Here's your lineup for the first race of the night then. Nicky Pedersen off the inside, the triple world champion, desperate to get into the top 8 and not rely on a wild card for next season. Janusz Kolodze off gate number 2. Chris Harris, who had that great night in Croatia, off gate number 3. Rune Holter goes off the outside in the yellow helmet colour. Heat number 1. Let's hope the track is okay, Kelvin, and then we get ourselves a good Speedway meeting.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. They've ripped the start on the outside. It'll be interesting to see if Rune Holter can benefit from that, but certainly in these conditions, often the inside works favourably early on.
Krista Gardell is our referee. The green light is on and we're underway here in Gorzow, and Harris makes a good start from 3. What a start. Nicky Pedersen locks up. Holter loses it altogether. He's staying down as well. The red lights are going to have to come on straight away here. And yes, indeed, the race is stopped. Rune Holter lost control, and Chris Harris will be very frustrated there because he made a lovely start.
Yeah, it always happens when you're out in front, and certainly Harris. You know, Harris actually revels in these difficult conditions. Often we see him actually really come to the fore. He absolutely flies out of gate 3, gets there. Nicky Pedersen comes roaring in there off of gate 1, and look at Holter literally out wide.
Go, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all on his own, and it's conditions.
The yellow light is on.
Yeah, the exclusion light comes on, but you'll watch him again. It is very greasy out there. He goes for the big wide run round the outside, and the back tyre just lets go on him and pirouettes down, and unfortunately for him, his night starts off in a disappointing style.
Yeah,
there.
he's just looked across at the referee as well, maybe begging him to take into consideration the track conditions, but the referee's sticking to the rule book there.
No sympathy from the referee there, and really it's would have been a difficult decision for the referee to put him all 4 back when he clearly went down on his own, but conditions did catch him out. Jason Crump there immediately going across to have a chat with Rune Holter, concern from the world champion and the 3-time former world champion about track conditions.
Well, he was blaming the track quite clearly for the crash, but also, I've got to say there as well, Nicky Pedersen got in a bit of trouble as well in that first turn.
Yeah, Pedersen sort of roared in there. We'll see him come into the picture now. Kolodze squeezed out. Pedersen there on the inside, roars into that first corner, and then the bike locks up underneath him as has to hang on to it, and he goes back to 3rd place. But unfortunately for Rune Holter, he will be very frustrated to have been called out by the greasy conditions.
I suspect he's not happy with conditions. He's having a word with Tony Olsen now, the Grand Prix race director, and this is where you have to try and keep a cool head, because quite clearly Rune Holter is blaming the track for his crash there, and that will be spread amongst the rest of the riders.
I have sympathy, because he didn't have any contact from nobody nudged him. He just looked for a roar around the outside in the opening race, and the back tyre let go on him, and because it's greasy out there, and he spun round and came off. But you know, and conditions are very difficult. Maybe should have been a little bit more circumspect. But I'll tell you what, first race, nervous, you've had a delay. He was trying to get around the outside to get himself a decent position, but just didn't manage to pull it off.
But then if you ask Chris Harris, he'll say, no problem.
Well, yeah, obviously, you know, but he was the only one to be that wide, Nigel, and out there, it's very greasy and still quite wet, and he just caught him out. Great start from Harris, though. Just the start he was looking for, unfortunately, didn't last very long.
No, and the way you look at it now as well, Harris won't make the top 8 this year, but he had that wonderful performance in Croatia. If he can do it again here tonight, then the organisers will look at it, surely, and with a couple of good rounds to round off the season, well, he'll be in their thoughts for next year.
Ideally, you'd like to have a GB rider in the series, of course, and Harris is our best bet for that. Up until Croatia, he really had a very disappointing time. There'd been some new engines turn up, and clearly they made a big difference to him, and he was absolutely firing on all cylinders when he was in Croatia. And on the evidence of that very brief Heat 1, the initial staging of Heat 1, he looked pretty strong there. But Pedersen now settling down. Can he make a better fit? He spun up on the start line on the inside there. It was very greasy. He just didn't really drive that hard to the first corner.
Has to be said as well that this man Chris Harris has made changes to his backroom team throughout this year as well. It's been a year of transition for Chris Harris with his backroom staff. The same applies here. We see Lars Munkedal on the Nicky Pedersen side of the pits. Lars, who rode for Wolverhampton and for Edinburgh when he rode in the UK, and he's on board with Nicky Pedersen in this meeting.
Yeah, John Jorgensen, of course, worked alongside Nicky Pedersen for a large part of this season, but is no longer there, and now, you know, Nicky's made lots of changes, desperately trying to find the key to his form to get amongst the big points once again on the Grand Prix stage, as has Chris Harris, and that's never easy during the year. You know, that can be some quite awkward conversations with team when you have to let people go and then you're hiring people in. So, you know, that in itself tells you that those guys have had a tough time.
Well, Nicky Pedersen has got a lot of fans here in Gorzow, has done a lot of laps on this track, knows it inside out, but perhaps doesn't know it with conditions like this.
No.
It was pouring down about an hour and a half before the start. There is more rain forecast at around 10 o'clock tonight here in Gorzow, which is 9 o'clock UK time. But the fact that we have got a forecast of more rain later suggests that they are going to try and get a move on with this meeting.
Yeah, we need fingers crossed that we don't get too many restarts. Obviously, there we didn't get round the first corner. That was indicative of conditions, just catching out Runingholter there. But I think we do need to rattle a few races off here so that we can get at least the heat 16, where potentially if it did have a massive downpour, we can get a result here this evening. But yeah, fingers crossed that we can get guys settled down and complete a few races.
Second time of asking then. Heat number 1. Miki Pedersen goes off the inside from Denmark. Gate 2 is Jonas Kolodze of Poland, and Chris Harris of Great Britain, who rides for the Bellevue Aces in the British Elite League. David Gordon and Chris Morton from the Bellevue management here tonight, watching on. They've met the Gorzow people who were responsible for building this stadium, because of Bellevue have ambitions of their own stadium, of course, in Manchester. Heat number 1. We await the restart here in Gorzow then. Bike draw, and away from the start they go, and Miki Pedersen's made a much better start this time off the inside gate. Harris is going to try to go high and wide and just locks up, and Kolodze nips through there now. Miki Pedersen has got plenty of pace here, goes into turns 3 and 4 and is looking good. Harris is going wide to try and get around the outside of Kolodze, who blocks his move, and Kolodze is closing in on Pedersen here.
Terrific start for Miki Pedersen off the inside. He's under all sorts of pressure from Kolodze. Kolodze really charging hard in third place. Got to feel a little bit there for Chris Harris. Initially, on the first time on this race, he was out in front when the red lights came on. Pedersen, though, looking hungry, looking eager out in front, controlling things at this stage.
Never write Miki Pedersen off. He's a determined character, loves his speedway, digs deep at every opportunity to try and get maximum drive from the bike. It just hasn't worked out for him in recent weeks. But Miki Pedersen from Denmark, 3 times World Speedway champion, looks good here. Kolodze looking very quick after a pretty difficult Grand Prix campaign, which has been hit by injury and illness. But Pedersen is going to take the checkered flag, although Kolodze winds it on.
Yeah.
Miki does the business, and the Gorzow crowd are delighted with that. He rides here for Stal Gorzow in the Polish League, and the capacity crowd are happy with that start to the meeting.
Yeah.
An impressive one from Miki Pedersen.
Good ride there from Miki Pedersen. He came under plenty of pressure from Kolodze, and he could not afford to make even half a mistake. If he'd just drifted away from the inside, Kolodze was ready to pounce.
Heat number 1, Miki Pedersen, the race winner, with Jonas Kolodze second. Chris Harris was third. Runingholter, of course, was excluded from the restart of that race for being the primary cause of the stoppage. And he will be a happy man as he reports back to the pits. Tom P. Madsen, the former rider, part of his pits crew these days as well. But Pedersen made a much better start that time, Kelvin.
Yeah, he didn't initially jump that well, but he drove very well into the first corner. Harris this time, unfortunately for him, could not get across from gate 3 and got squeezed out coming out of the first corner when Kolodze charged up underneath him. The tapes go up, the clutches are out, and the bikes roar towards the first corner. This time, Harris just spun up a wee bit coming out of gate 3. Pedersen there charged in the inside and rode a really strong race under a lot of pressure from Kolodze. But an excellent start for the 3-time world champion. That's exactly what he was looking for.
Heat number 2 coming up, and it's the first appearance of the night for the world champion Greg Hancock, who will receive his world championship trophy here this evening, as we see Pedersen and Tom P. Madsen down in the pits area there. Such a fiery character, Pedersen. You can never write him off. So determined. Harris, who made that great start, but it just so often happens.
Frustrating.
You lead a race and then it stops and you have to do it again.
You're dead right. We see it often. You know, the guy that's out in front, he's the one with everything to lose, and very often he fails to then replicate the same start. Can now, the world champion from the outside. What a season he's enjoyed. Never ridden better in my view. He really has had that consistency. Hit the nail on the head in his interview with Steve. Consistency at this level is everything.
Chris Holder goes off the inside, a big night for him. Artem Laguta goes off gate 2, has looked a lot more settled into life as a GP rider recently. Tonio Lindback goes off gate 3, and going off the outside is Greg Hancock, who has his family with him here tonight in the stadium. They weren't there when he won the title in Gorishan a fortnight ago, but they're here to see the night when he is officially crowned World Speedway champion. And of course, he'll start the defence of his title in New Zealand next March. at Auckland, which is the start of next year's series. Heat number 2, and away from the start, Majestic from Hancock off gate number 4 takes that lead. Chris Holder is in second place, Laguta third, Lindback relegated to the back, but Greg Hancock showing just why he's world champion. He made the start, an electric getaway off gate number 4, and now just coming down to lap number 2, he has the lead from Chris Holder, who needs a good night tonight. Laguta third, and Lindback trailing at the back.
Yeah, Lindback struggling there. He was all over the place on the opening lap. Fantastic start for the champion from gate 4. Really did power to that first corner. Holder's there. Really is keeping him up to his work. Laguta and Antonio Lindback are being dropped. The front two are pulling away. But Hancock out in front, all the experience, all the confidence oozing out of him, out in front. But he cannot afford to make a mistake.
No, I'd love to end the series on a high here tonight, but Chris Holder looks pretty quick.
He's there, isn't he?
Absolutely. Hancock holds the line. Holder goes inside. There's a battle at the back as well between Laguta and Lindback, who are almost a length of a straight behind the front two. But Hancock has that lead. He's going to come round here and take the checkered flag. It's been quite a couple of weeks for Hancock, who finishes as the winner with second place Holder, third Laguta. But with Hancock, you know, everything he touches turns to gold. He's a world champion. He's won the league here in Poland with Zielona Góra. He's won the league in Sweden as well, and the Czech Republic. It's amazing, really, what this man has done. One of those years where everything has turned out right for Greg Herbie Hancock. What a start from gate number 4. Jet-propelled getaway. Chris Holder was second. Third place there was Artem Laguta, and Antonio Lindback trailing at the back. But, well, if you want to show any youngsters how to make the start, just watch this man off gate number 4.
Well, I spoke about the fact that how the focus of attention on starting tonight early on was going to be hugely important, and so it's proved in the first 2 races. The rider that's managed to get his nose in front into that first corner has then settled down, ridden a fairly tight line, and without making any mistakes at all, even though Holder looked like he had a little bit more pace in second place, Hancock, the world champion, was able to secure the win. Excellent start for him, as it was for Pedersen in Heat 1. Holder was right there, kept him right up to his work. Track conditions, tricky, a little bit slippery. Riders can't really move that far off the line, but he's well and truly delighted with that one.
Well, a lot made about Greg's age. The oldest ever World Speedway champion.
Rides like a teenager.
He does indeed. Chris Holder there with Shane Parker, who is retiring from Speedway at the end of this month. Shane Parker has had a terrific season with the Sheffield Tigers in the Premier League in the UK, but he's here tonight. Shane in the pits with Chris Holder.
Going back to Adelaide, isn't he? Back home, and he's looking forward to that. But I'm looking forward to Heat 3. You know, we've got Thomas Golub coming out here, home rider, back in his own backyard. Got to say, it's been a disappointing time for the outgoing world champion, but I tell you what, on his night, certainly in the World Cup here, Nigel, he was totally inspirational.
Yeah, they put him on the tactical joker, didn't they? And he turned it around.
Unbelievable, and he carried his team, he inspired his team when they were in last place and they came through to win the World Cup. I'm sure he would love to produce something like that here this evening.
Heat number 3 coming up here then.
Tough race.
Absolutely,
Tough race.
what a lineup. Just look at it. Golub off the inside. Freddie Lindgren off gate number 2, 10 points behind the top 8. To get into the series next year, automatically, you have to get in the top 8. Andreas Jonsson, who holds the silver medal spot by 1 point at the moment over Jarek Hampel, and Darcy Ward, the wild card. He's here tonight. He's at the World Under-21 final tomorrow, and he's in the Elite League Grand Final for Poole against Eastbourne on Monday night, live on Sky Sports HD. And Ward makes a good one, but Jonsson is there, and now here's Darcy Ward coming around the outside. What a dream start for the wild card. Darcy Ward goes down that back straight, and he's carving up the opposition. Andreas Jonsson second. Thomas Golub is in third place right now, but Darcy Ward going into lap 2 is in a stunning run of form here, and Golub chases hard after Jonsson. Battle on for second spot here, Kelvin.
No room there. Golub had to slam the door was slammed shut by Andreas Jonsson in second place. Ward was fantastic away from gate 4, round the outside in the first corner, winding on down the back straight on the back wheel on the opening lap. He's pulling away. Jonsson settled nicely in second place, and Golub just slipping back, with Lindgren beginning to put pressure on Golub in third place, but Ward out in front. Wow, you'd think he'd been in the Grand Prix for 10 years.
Well, I'm sure they'd like to include him next year, but there's plenty of talk that he may turn down an invite to be in next year's Grand Prix series. We'll find out, because I'm sure the question will be asked. Darcy Ward takes the checkered flag. Andreas Jonsson second, and Lindgren
Golub
really
just
having
hanging on
Golub
for third place.
But the Polish rider hangs on. But what about that man, Darcy Ward? We talk about him so much here because he is such a natural talent on a speedway bike, and as a wild card, he's got 3 points under his belt. He got a superb round under his belt in Torren, of course, and now here he is winning his opening ride. Here's the result. A win for Darcy Ward. Second place was Andreas Johnson. He'll be happy with that in the battle for the silver medal. Third place there was Thomas Golub, just on the line as Lindgren tried to pip him to the post. But Darcy Ward, brilliant.
It was brilliant, because when you look at the lineup of this race, you know, you've got Johnson, who's in the form of his life, you've got Golub, the home rider, on the inside, and Lindgren has also been in terrific form of late. He comes roaring out of gate 4, sweeps across the opposition, you know, clearly not intimidated by the opposition. Look at that, coming out of there, the motorcycle skills as he comes out of turn 2 on the opening lap. I hope we see it again, because his balance on the bike is absolutely perfect. We're looking at the battle for second place. Ward's already charging down that back straight. Golub early on put plenty of pressure on AJ in second place, but could not make it stick. But that man starts in fine style with a big 3 points. Terrific from the wild card.
Yeah, superb ride from Darcy Ward. As we say on Monday night, Poole are 8 points behind Eastbourne going into the second leg of that grand final. They didn't get the chance to use a tactical ride at Eastbourne in the first leg. If Eastbourne go 10 or more behind on Monday at Poole, they can nominate a rider for double points. So Poole have still got a lot of work to do on Monday if they are going to be crowned Elite League champions. And as we say, it is live with us on Monday evening.
Nicely
Heat
balanced.
number 4. Yeah,
Nicely
absolutely.
balanced the playoffs, no question about it. Heat number 4, another terrific looking lineup. Emil Saifudanov just having a few problems again this season, but on every now and again has shown really that dramatic speed that we've come accustomed to seeing from him. But again, a fabulous looking lineup for Heat 4.
Emil Saifudanov goes off the inside then. Gate 2 is Jason Crump, 3 times world champion. Gate 3, Jarek Hampel, and off the outside is Kenneth Bier. Hampel is the man who's challenging Andreas Johnson for second spot. He's been in the silver medal position for the majority of the season, chasing down Greg Hancock. He's got the support of the home crowd here tonight in Gorzow, and no doubt they'd be delighted if he could pip Johnson to second spot in the World Championship. This is heat number 4 of the Gorzow Grand Prix of Poland, and away from the start, Crump has made a good one, but so has Bier off the outside. That gate 4 is working a treat, and Hampel has come around the outside as well. Down the back straight, a superb swoop from Jarek Hampel. Second place is Bier. Crump is charging hard around the outside and looks as though he may just get the better here of Bier. No, he won't, because Bier holds the line, and trailing at the back is Emil Saifudanov, and Crump has lost it now and gone to the back, but the lead superbly here is with a man in white, Jarek Hampel.
Yeah, Hampel out in front, fantastic first corner from him, the first rider that we've seen who's managed to get round the outside of somebody else. Bier was under huge pressure from Crump early on. Crump then got out of shape and is now under pressure from Saifudanov out the back. But what can you say about Hampel? Hampel means business, Nige. He's come here to get that second place, to get that silver medal. He's out in front, winding it on, looking hugely impressive.
He's level with Johnson now if it stays like this, because before the meeting started, Johnson 118, Hampel 117, and here's Saifudanov having a battle, but the win is with Jarek Hampel, and he wins it comfortably. Second, Bier. Crump finished third at the expense of Saifudanov, and listen to the noise here. You'd think Hampel was still in contention for the world title itself, but now that puts Hampel onto 120 points, and Andreas Johnson is on 120. If they stay level in the World Championship tonight, it will go down to a runoff for the silver and bronze medal. That's how important that race win was for Jarek Hampel.
Superb performance there from Hampel. He was dynamic out in front, showing terrific speed.
Yeah, Hampel the winner with Kenneth Bier second there. Third place went to Jason Crump. Emil Saifudanov at the back. The race winners so far, Hampel, Hancock, Pedersen and Ward. Well, what a ride from Hampel, because he appeared to come from nowhere there, Colin.
Well, you watch it in the first corner. He's the first rider that's managed to get round the outside. Bier makes an excellent start from the outside. He's joined there early doors by Jason Crump. They're in the middle of the track. It's a little bit greasy and slick there. And Hampel manages to slingshot down that back straight and fires himself to the front. As I said before, that's the first rider who's managed to do that tonight. And when he did get to the front, he showed very impressive speed. Of course, he got a maximum here in the league not so long ago, riding for Leshno. Likes this place, rode well in the World Cup, of course, as well. But certainly, Hampel out in front, brilliant stuff.
everybody's had one ride now, and Hampel with that win under his belt. Look what it means to them. And they're absolutely delighted with that. Let's hear from Greg Hancock now, down in the pits with Chris Louis.
Greg, having won the championship coming here today, a few people questioned whether you'd have the focus and the drive, but I think you just answered that one in your first race.
Well, you know, I mean, it's for me, I'm still a racer, to the bone, you know. So it's I'm very excited. I got the title already, but you know, I still want to finish the year on a high, and you know, it's important for me to have a good meeting here.
I read somewhere that you said this year it's all about racing, winning, and having fun. Well, that just about sums up your season, I think.
Pretty much, you know. I mean, if you're racing, you want to win, and if you're winning, you're having fun. So yeah, you got it. The best three things you can have.
The track out there looks a little bit tricky. It may rut up a little bit, but there's plenty of grip out there. It's going to make a good dirt line later on.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, they've done a good job of trying to get away the real wet top surface there, and you know, it's probably not the best racing right now, but hopefully later we're going to see something better.
Well done, great start. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect start for Greg Hancock, speaking to Chris Louis, who is here with Sky Sports tonight.
Andreas Jonsson.
2 points under his belt so far.
Chris Holder.
Solid opening ride.
Nicky Pedersen.
Brilliant opening outing with a fine race win.
Kenneth Bjerre.
Also good for him.
Antonio Lindbäck.
Struggling in his opening ride, can he bounce back?
Looked quick in his opening ride.
Thomas Gollo.
Just the 1 point and was under pressure.
Jason Kropp.
He also was under pressure from Saifurinov.
Chris Harris.
Made a good start first time out and then claimed third.
Artem Lagota.
Steady ride in his opening one.
Emil Saifudinov.
Surprisingly off the pace in his opening ride.
Freddie Lindgren.
Missed the start and didn't get amongst the points.
Jarek Hampel.
Well, he came from nowhere. A stunning opening ride.
Darcy Ward.
As for this man, stunning from gate 4.
Greg Hancock.
Another win for the world champion.
Frustration for him so far.
Only lasted 2 bends, didn't he? He'd be hoping to do 4 laps. Rune Holter.
Indeed he will, and certainly conditions are gently improving. There is a racing line developing already, and there is material building up on the outside. Expectation in the air. Certainly they saw a terrific ride from Jarek Hampel in that opening ride. Jarek Hampel, for me, was certainly potentially the fastest rider on show so far, but that man's been fast. Andreas Jonsson, he really has been something spectacular. There we see the standings in the World Championship, because Hancock's wrapped it all up. Really the focus of attention really will be between Hampel and Jonsson. Absolutely neck and neck after their opening rides.
Well, they'll be pushed off very shortly to resume the action here. What are your thoughts on the track, the way it's held up so far, Kelvin, after all the work they did to it?
Well, I think it's done very well. It's greasy underneath. It's hard. The base of the track is hard. It's cold. It's damp. So therefore it will be greasy there. Riders will be looking for a little bit more grip as it builds up on the outside. And, you know, you saw Hampel in the previous race where he was charged round, took a bit of a chance, and it paid off for him. Riders will have taken note of that.
Well, here we see Nicky Pedersen, a winner in his opening ride. And Kenneth Bjerre, a couple of points to his name. He'll just be wanting to end the season on a high. He's got 99 Grand Prix points now, helped by the fact that Freddie Lindgren didn't score in his opening ride.
Yeah, disappointing start for Freddie Lindgren when he's so keen to make that top 8, and with 10 points behind it, always going to be an uphill struggle, but you make it more difficult when he failed to score in his opening ride. So Kenneth Bjerre, he's had a steady season, and he's well and truly in the top 8. But what is going to happen with Darcy Ward? So much speculation about him, Nigel. Will he, won't he take the opportunity to be a Grand Prix rider? Is it too soon? Does he have the infrastructure around him to cope with a full Grand Prix season? But certainly when we see him ride like that, he's more than ready for it.
Jonsson, what a terrific turnaround to his season. It was amazing the way he turned it all around after a poor first half to the season.
Yeah, Carl Blumfelt was re-employed, came back into Grand Prix Speedway after a few years out in the wilderness in Canada. And Carl admitted to me in a conversation around the World Cup time that just took him a while just to reacquaint himself with Speedway, and certainly they've got things working extremely well, because he's never ridden better, and he, for the future, if he can continue on like this, will be a genuine threat to be a world champion.
Well, if you're wondering what the delay's about now, it appears that we've got problems with the starting gate here. That appears to be the problem now. I wonder if it's a result of the rain that's got into the system, and obviously it's causing a bit of a delay now because of the starting problems. There's the guy that monitors the starting tapes to see that they go up evenly. And I would suggest that with rain forecast, this is the last thing we need. We need to get on with this.
Yeah, well, we spoke about that after Heat 1 when Ronnie Halter fell off. We can ill afford to have too many delays this evening. We want to rattle through these races to make sure that we get enough races completed before, or we can beat the weather effectively. They're going to test the tapes now. Referee lets them go, went up pretty level there in my eye. I think it looked pretty good.
Yep, so
we're going to get the green light to go, hopefully. But, you know, once again, riders with their helmets on, sitting patiently in the tunnel, ready to roar back out onto the track. I do enjoy coming to Poland, Nigel. There's always a fabulous atmosphere in the stadium. It's always so well supported, the Speedway here.
Yeah, great atmosphere here in Gorzow, and we're about to get underway with heat number 5. Heat 5 coming up then as we build up to the action. And can Nicky Pedersen make it 2 wins out of 2? He has had a torrid old run of form, Nicky, but there's no doubt that on his day, still one of the top riders in the world.
Yes, he is, and he was very positive in his interview with that small delay we had at the beginning of the meeting, and he took the second chance in Heat 1 with both hands by making a great start and picking up 3 points. He was under pressure, but he rode a solid race. He's going to come under pressure again once more here. Chris Holder and Andreas Jonsson look pretty quick. Failed to win their opening rides, of course, but certainly both finished second and looked threatening in second place. So Pedersen under a bit of pressure there, and also he's got to be wary of the fast-starting pocket rocket Kenneth Bier on gate 1.
You do feel that Andreas Jonsson, as we see his team in the pits there, Jonsson is going to need a top display to finish runner-up in the World Championship, because of the fact that when you look at it, Jara Campbell looks so quick in his opening ride. It's going to be a real tough ask of Jonsson. Here's your lineup for heat number 5 then. Kenneth Bier goes off the inside in red. Gate 2 is Nicky Pedersen, an impressive win first time out. Chris Holder goes off gate number 3. 2 points to his name, needs to keep it ticking over. Andreas Jonsson going off the outside. He's going to have to maintain a good level of performance if he's going to claim the silver medal in the World Championship here this evening. Hampel, the man who is also hoping for silver medal position, well, he'll be watching on his monitor down in the pits area. This is heat number 5 of the FIM Gorzow Speedway Grand Prix of Poland. And away from the start, Jonsson has made a beauty, absolute beauty. Now what can Kenneth Bier do as Jonsson takes the drive? Second place, Pedersen has just come around the outside, and that was a stunning move from Nicky Pedersen. He got maximum drive, and now Bier's under pressure at the back from Chris Holder. This will be disappointing for Chris Holder because he's desperate to finish on a high here, but Jonsson looking very quick here now.
Oh, he has stretched his legs already. He is powering away out in front. A great start from him, and he is really in control out in front. Pedersen took care of Chris Holder, who was really tough in that first corner, charged in there and left Holder with nowhere to go, and then Pedersen then swooped round the outside of Kenneth Bier and looking strong in second place. This is more like it from Nicky Pedersen. He picks up 2 points here. That'll be 5 from 2 rides. That'll be pretty good indeed, but AJ out in front once again, very impressive.
Track looks fine now as well. It's smooth, and there's a lot of dry material that has been spread all over the track now. It's not spectacular, but at least we've got a meeting on here tonight. Jonsson takes the checkered flag. Nicky Pedersen second, Kenneth Bier third, and Chris Holder trailing at the back. A major disappointment for the Australian there. But heat number 5, Jonsson, well, he found the drive at just the right time there. The Super Swede, 5 points to his name, as you said, Kelvin, and that will do him because he will fancy his chances of going through to the semi-finals, and he's going to have to do that to really push for that silver medal position. Here's the result of heat number 5. It's a win for Andreas Jonsson with Nicky Pedersen second. Third place there went to Kenneth Bier, and trailing at the back was Chris Holder. This is how it affects the points positions now, with Jonsson on 5 and Pedersen on 5 at the top of the leaderboard here in Gorzow. Carl Blumfeld,
yep,
a happy man with AJ.
Yeah, smiles all round in AJ's camp, and this is the reason why he comes rocketing out of gate 4, sweeps across, then allows the bike to go right up into that dirt. Look at Pedersen, he took care of Holder, and then he actually had the presence of mind to keep the momentum going, and he got round the outside of Kenneth Pierre, who was down low. We're on the inside, it's a little bit greasy down there, and just did not have the momentum coming out of turn 2 on the opening lap. Jonsson really is oozing full of confidence. You know, you can just look at the body language on the bike. He really is enjoying his Speedway right now, and that was a mightily impressive heat win there for him, moving on to 5 points. So good stuff from there. Carl Blumfeld there and there having a nice chat, but they're pretty relaxed. And Nicky Pedersen, as always, pretty fiery in the pits, wanting more all the time from his equipment.
Very much so. He's such a determined character. As I said earlier, you can never ever write off Nicky Pedersen, even if he's on a poor run of form. Here we see Jason Crump, who, well, we have to send our sympathies out to the Crump family and the family of Neil Street, an absolute legend in Speedway who sadly passed away in the week in his home in Australia.
Special guy, Neil Street.
Very much so.
You know, his whole life was revolved around Speedway. Of course, a good rider himself, and then involved in tuning and then promoting and team managing, and a very sad loss.
Jason Crump off the inside. Neil Street, by the way, Jason's grandfather. Gate 2, Thomas Golub of Poland, the outgoing world champion. Janusz Kolodze, gate 3, 2 points to his name, and Antonio Lindback going off the outside. Now Crump against Golub, the inside 2 gates. It's going to be worth watching, but Kolodze looked quick in his opening ride as well. This is heat number 6, and a good start from Jason Crump off the inside gate, but Golub nips up the inside. A tidy move, but Crump has got the drive around the outside, and now we're getting some pretty spectacular Speedway down the back straight, because Golub gets the drive. What can Crump do now? Crump goes high and wide into the dirt. Can he get some drive down the home straight? Super Speedway here.
As they start the second lap, Crump round the outside of Golub, powering to the front. Golub now down the inside as Crump lifts and loses his momentum. Golub fires himself back to the front. Crump back to the inside, pushing really hard. Lindback looks better in 3rd place, with Kolodze looking a way through. Terrific Speedway out in front. Oh, how close was that, with Crump nearly running in the back of Golub out in front.
Golub has that lead, looking superb here, and the atmosphere is electric as Golub has that lead, with Jason Crump 2nd. 3rd is Antonio Lindback, Kolodze at the back. Crump's not giving up. Crump has got some drive up the inside, wheel to wheel down the back straight. Golub is going to prevail though. He's pulling clear now in turns 3 and 4 as Kolodze loses it at the back. But Thomas Golub!
Crump steals it coming out of turn 4. Golub went too wide, and Crump rode an absolutely masterful last corner to slip up the inside to steal the win away from the top Polish man. Golub for so long looked like he was going to pick up the win, but I tell you what, that was an inspired ride there from Jason Crump. I suggest riding for Neil Street there this evening.
That was fantastic Speedway, and the best race of the night so far. Shows, I guess, that the track is improving here. Jason Crump nips in on the line and gets the victory. Thomas Golub was 2nd, Antonio Lindback was 3rd, and Janusz Kolodze trailing at the back. But Jason Crump with 3 big points there, puts him onto 4. Golub on 3 points now, and what a race that was. They really went for it big time.
Fantastic Speedway, just shows you how good these guys are. Difficult conditions, but those 2 boys out in front were absolutely spectacular. Initially it was Crump who made a good start, went looking for the dirt, and then I didn't think that Golub could get to the front here, but he finds that little bit extra and roars down the middle of that back straight and gets himself to the front. Then there's a race-long battle between the 2 boys out in front. We're seeing the start again. And Crump somehow manages, wouldn't be denied here, really showed terrific tenacity there to hunt down Golub as they come out of that last corner. Golub has no answers, he knows Crump's coming for him, and Crump steals that win away. That was proper Speedway.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Jason Crump. Absolutely magnificent Speedway. And I guess it just shows the point I made there, Kel. The track is improving and the riders are feeling a lot happier about riding out there.
Dead right, they're getting more confidence in it. That material on the outside is beginning to work, and you can chop back to the inside. Good stuff, excellent stuff.
So, heat number 7 is next up, and we've got a couple of riders here with serious ambitions to be in the Grand Prix next year that are outside of the top 8. Frederick Lindgren in red, we see there, and Chris Harris in yellow. Lindgren still feeling a bit of back pain after the crash that he was involved in at Wolverhampton on August the 1st, when he landed on his head, and there were serious concerns at one stage about his condition, but he was back riding pretty quickly, and he's here tonight looking to extend his good run of form from the last 2 rounds. But he started with a big fat 0, needs to do better here. Lindgren off the inside, Saifutinov off 2, Laguta off 3, and Chris Harris going off the outside gate there. Here we go with heat number 7, and away from the start, Lindgren's made a good one, but Harris off the outside. Stunning start from Chris Harris in the yellow helmet colour. Freddie Lindgren holds second. Laguta is battling with his fellow countryman Saifutinov for 3rd place, but look at Chris Harris going wide. Does that allow a little bit of room for Lindgren, and Saifutinov putting a little bit of pressure on now as well. But Chris Harris, superb start from the man from Cornwall in the UK.
Oh, he's under pressure there. He went very wide in turns 1 and 2 on the second time and got a little bit out of shape. Then Lindgren lifted, and I thought for a moment they could be contact, but Harris is out in front. Saifutinov's looking for a way through. Up the inside, coming into turns 1 and 2 again. He gets into 2nd place, forcing Lindgren back. Tough speedway from the young Russian, but the Brit out in front is doing a fine job.
Well, a lot of the British fans in the crowd tonight. There is over 100 British fans that have travelled here with James Easter, and is putting on a great show, and the British fans really having a great time as they see their man Chris Harris going into turns 3 and 4, and it looks like he's going to secure victory. And a superb ride from the man in the yellow helmet.
Yeah.
Emil Saifutinov was second after a hard-fought battle with Fredrik Lindgren in 3rd and Artem Laguta at the back. But Chris Harris, who had that fantastic meeting in Gorishan a fortnight ago, and that is a win which will mean so much to him.
It will do, and he was disappointed obviously after his first ride where they restarted the race and he came in 3rd place, but he still felt confident, and there it was. He came roaring out of gate 4 and picks up valuable 3 points.
Yeah, as I say, the 100+ British fans that are in the crowd tonight celebrate there. Chris Harris with 4 points to his name now, moves into the top 8. Saifutinov, Lindgren, Laguta out of contention at the moment, but they've still got 3 rides each to try and get into the semi-finals. Here we see it again. Harris off the outside, swoops across.
Fabulous stuff from Harris out of gate 4. Really was determined to get to that first corner. There was a really good battle for 2nd and 3rd here between Lindgren and Saifutinov. Saifutinov then charges up the inside and gets up the inside of Lindgren coming into turn 1 to steal that 2nd place away with Laguta out the back. But Harris, after the disappointment, it's always disappointing when you've made a start, you've hit the front and the red lights come on and then you fail to replicate it. But it hasn't affected him. He's come out and done the business, and this was a terrific tussle between these 2 boys, with Lindgren coming off 2nd best, with Saifutinov going through to 2nd. But Harris on 4 points from 2 rides, that's a strong start.
Yeah, these last couple of races we've seen some much better speedway, particularly Crump against Golub. That was great.
Yeah.
And it's understandable, Kelvin, you know, that the start of the meeting was going to be tentative. It wasn't going to be spectacular because the rain that we had, we were stood in the pits about an hour and a half to 2 hours before the start, and the rain was coming down, it was cold, it was damp, and we genuinely feared that we might not see any speedway tonight.
Yeah, if it hadn't have eased up, it might well have been under threat. The meeting actually been going ahead, you're absolutely correct, but fortunately it stopped. And it's now beginning to produce some proper speedway out there, and thoroughly enjoying it. We're seeing Ronnie Holter coming out. He's had a frustrating night so far. He needs to replicate that. And of course the world champion, who started in fine style coming out of gate 4. This time he's coming out of gate 2.
I have to mention as well, by the way, that there are 20+ Glasgow Tigers fans that are here tonight, and I was talking to them last night in our hotel, and they're a bit gutted because they might miss out, or they probably will miss out on seeing Glasgow be confirmed as Premier League champions tomorrow, because they've come out for the Grand Prix and won't get back to
I suggest they're
Ashfield
still
in time.
enjoying themselves, Nigel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they're supporting Chris Harris tonight as well, which is good to see, the Glasgow fans here. And congratulations to them on their imminent Premier League title success. Heat number 8 coming up. Rune Holter off the inside, yet to score. Greg Hancock, a winner first time. In fact, the 3 other riders apart from Holter here, all winners in their first outing. Hancock off 2, Darcy Ward off gate 3, and Yara Campbell going off the outside. Should be some race this one,
yeah,
Kelvin.
Looking forward to it. Darcy Ward was terrific in his opening one. Hampel was majestic out in front, looked really quick, and Hancock rode a faultless race in his ride. So Holter, obviously, he's the one under pressure who has had a tough night so far, but really going head-to-head early doors here with 3 heat winners. Something's got to give.
Must be raining back home as well. We're getting messages of postponements at Berwick and at Workington tonight, so it's not just here in Poland. where the rain has hit. Heat number 8 is here, and Hancock makes a good start off gate number 2. The world champion leads the way now. Holter is second, charging hard, coming through into second place now is the man in yellow.
Hampel.
Jarek Hampel, superb. Darcy Ward is third, and Rune Holter has been relegated to the back. And I'll tell you what, they are really having a go as Ward holds third. But the lead is with Greg Hancock, Jarek Hampel second, third is Darcy Ward, and that was again a measure of why Greg Hancock is World Speedway champion.
Well, he is riding supremely well. He made a fantastic stop. Hampel's right there, and he's charging hard, looking for a way through if at all possible. But the world champion out in front, looking good. There's a scrap going on for third place with Rune Holter putting Darcy Ward under a lot of pressure. But Hancock out in front is having to work very hard, having to keep his concentration really high. With the Hampel charging really hard in second place.
Yep, Hancock, by the way, is due to have surgery on his damaged knee. You're not thinking, though, the way you look at him riding here, he is riding superbly. Greg Hancock, 2 wins out of 2 for the man from California, USA. The man who sampled the gold medal with Zielona Góra here in Poland last weekend. Also in the Swedish league, magnificent. Denmark as well, he's won the league there. It really has, and Czech Republic. It's been a remarkable year for him.
It's a dream season for him. He will never forget it, and he started in fine style tonight. What a reception for him. That was a hugely competitive race, and I'll tell you what, he has never ridden better. Such confidence away from the tapes. The bike powered to the first corner. He's lapping up every moment here, and he did absolutely dead right. Entertaining the crowd, and certainly enjoying himself out there this evening, riding brilliantly.
So Greg Hancock then, the winner of heat number 8. Second place was Jarek Hampel. Third was Darcy Ward, and Rune Holter trailing in at the back. Could be Rune Holter's last meeting as a Grand Prix rider tonight. Will we ever see him again in the Grand Prix, or will it be the end of his GP career tonight? Hancock on 6 leads the Grand Prix.
Super ride there from Greg Hancock out of Gate 2. He was absolutely sensational. We see it again. We're looking at Hampel coming away from the outside, squeezes out Darcy Ward, the two boys going into the first turn. Then Rune Holter gets amongst the scene, but Ward had the presence of mind to shot back to the inside, and he gets back into third place. But Hancock out in front had it under control. He came under pressure as Hampel really began to build momentum as the race got into the middle of the race rather, and he really did then begin to put pressure on the world champion. Good move from Ward coming out of the first turn. That every point vital, of course, but 6 points out of 6. Can't do better than that.
Well, Greg Hancock enjoying the sweet taste of success. And Chris Louis from Sky Sports is speaking to Jason Crump.
Jason, fabulous move on the last turn just to pip Thomas Golub, and with you two battling 4th and 5th place, important points.
Yeah, you know, it's important for me for a lot of reasons to do well tonight, and you know, the top 8's not tied up yet. I mean, you know, obviously Lindgren and Holder are kind of fighting it out for that spot. Nicky's having a good night, so it's kind of tight. You got to make sure you get some points, and I just want to ride as well as I can today.
It looks like you're going to miss out on a medal for the championship for the first time in 10 years. By your standards, maybe a disappointing year, but it just shows the standards that you have reached to be able to still be in 4th place at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, quite obviously the reason I've had a medal for the last 10 years is because I've been pretty consistent, and this year I haven't been. You know, consistency is a word that you couldn't associate with me this year.
Track conditions out there actually look quite good at the moment. They're settling down, and there's a bit of dirt everywhere, so there's a few racing lines.
There is a few, and you'd like it, a sneaky little inside manoeuvre off the second bend, but I'm not sure. I don't know if the rain's going to come again or not, but it's not ideal. It's not as good a track as we have for the World Cup, unfortunately.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.
Yeah, good stuff. Reasons to do well, including dedicating tonight to his grandfather Neil Street, who passed away during the week in Melbourne in Australia. And Streety will always go down as an all-time great in Speedway. Don't know anybody with a bad word to say about that guy. Steve Brandon now with Andreas Jonsson. Races 9 to 12.
Freddie Lindgren.
Desperate to go out on a high, just 1 point so far.
Nicky Peterson.
Looking good tonight.
The race is on for the silver medal. Hampel on 5 out of 6.
Finding it difficult.
2 points to his name so far.
Same for Saifudinov, he's struggling a little bit.
Chris Holder.
Just 2 points, a last place last time out.
Darcy Ward.
Good start for Ward.
Jason Crow.
Very fast in passing Gollop in his last outing.
Chris Harris.
Terrific ride last time out.
Andreas Jonsson.
Talk about quick.
Greg Hancock.
Superb so far.
1 point to his name in his final Grand Prix.
Still struggling to find the speed.
Yet to score a point, excluded in his first.
Pretty good so far.
So heat number 9 coming up then. We see the riders making their final preparations. Jarek Hampel in the blue helmet colour, desperate to keep a good performance level here in the battle for the silver medal. Heat number 9 coming up. Heat number 9 is here then with Antonio Lindback off the inside in red. Jarek Hampel going for that silver medal. He's off gate 2 and looking quick. Nicky Pedersen also looking quick. He's off gate 3. Freddie Lindgren hasn't had the best of nights so far. He's going off the outside gate in yellow. It has started just spitting, just drizzling. It's just that fine rain that it can soak you through.
Yeah.
Well,
Lindgren's got to pick it up now if he has any aspirations of making that top 8. He's going to have to start winning races, but Hampel and Pedersen are coming out of the middle. Keep an eye on them.
Away from the start, Pedersen makes a good one in the white helmet colour. What a start that was. And now Lindgren coming around the outside of Hampel. And Lindgren now charging through the middle. Superb ride from Freddie Lindgren. But Nicky Pedersen holds that line. Hampel's in trouble. He's at the back. Jonsson will look at that, interestingly enough, with Nicky Pedersen holding the lead and looking good to go on to 8 points here. Lindgren and Lindback, the Swedes, battling for second and third. And surprisingly, Jarek Hampel at the back.
Yeah, that's not good news for Jarek Hampel. That's disappointment for him. He didn't make a good start and got squeezed out. Look at Nicky Pedersen go. Where's this come from? Rejuvenated out in front, fast, tenacious, aggressive. Really, everything you associate about the former 3-time world champion looking great out in front. Lindgren's going okay in second place, but certainly Pedersen in front looking really good tonight.
Knows this track inside out as a Gorzow rider, of course. Nicky Pedersen, super quick down that back straight. Released by Elite League Peterborough in the UK towards the end of the season. I wonder if that's done him a favour to allow him a little bit more time in between fixtures, and he takes the checkered flag. Freddie Lindgren second, third was Lindback, and Hampel at the back.
Disastrous for their Hampel there when he looked so impressive earlier on this evening. Really did get squeezed out and failed to land a blow. He'll be hugely disappointed about that. An opportunity possibly for Andreas Jonsson his next ride to pull away in the points table for that silver medal. But Nicky Pedersen tonight has only dropped 1 point, and I'll tell you what, on the evidence of his first 3 rides, looks like he's in for a really top performance tonight.
Well, there's the result. Nicky Pedersen the winner with Freddie Lindgren second, Antonio Lindback third, Jarek Hampel last, and Andreas Jonsson will be waiting to pounce. Pedersen leads the Grand Prix on 8 points here. Hampel moves on to 5, but Jonsson is also on 5, but with a race in hand. And a reminder, if you've just joined us, it's between Hampel and Jonsson, really, as it looks at the moment, for that second spot.
The tapes are up and they roar away, and it's Nicky Pedersen coming out of gate 3. He gets there, and that's where he stays. Terrific ride for him out in front. Got to say that Lindgren does remarkably well down this back straight. I thought for a moment he was actually going to get to the front, but just at the last minute, Pedersen swept across in front of him and closed the door. But that man coming out of gate 2, he misses the start, gets squeezed out. Going into the first corner, Jarek Hampel, and then fails to land a blow, and that'll be hugely concerning for him. He would have been really frustrated. Tried to get up the inside there going into turn 3, but found no way through. But that man out in front, he didn't have any problems at all. Great start, and delighted to pick up the 3 points.
Will Nicky Pedersen be heading to Auckland on March the 31st as a nominated rider in the World Championship next year? The World Championship Series gets underway on March the 31st next year at Western Springs in Auckland, New Zealand. The home at the moment, of course, of the Rugby World Cup, but next March the home of the Speedway World Championship Grand Prix on March the 31st. in Auckland. New Zealand, of course, a rich history of Speedway riders. Ronnie Moore, Barry Briggs, Ivan Major.
Yeah.
Great names from the past.
Fabulous names from the past. They haven't had success in the recent past, unfortunately for them, but hey, could be rejuvenating Speedway down under.
Darcy Ward off the inside. Gate 2 is Chris Holder. Emil Saifutinov goes off gate number 3. Janis Kolodze goes off the outside in yellow. This is heat number 10. Ward and Holder, big mates, absolute buddies. They were travelled together on the same flight from Luton to Poznan yesterday, enjoying the banter, but they're up against each other here in heat number 10, and it's the outside 2 gates that fare better there. Holder's been left at the back again. The lead here is with Emil Saifutinov, the Russian. Second place in yellow is Janis Kolodze, who comes up the inside. Get out of the way, but Saifutinov holds his line. He's having none of it. He goes into the dirt and gets the drive, and this is a great race here. And now there's a battle for third as well between Ward and Holder, and Chris Holder has just nipped up the inside into third place now. But what about that from Saifutinov and Kolodze?
Saifutinov out in front. There's a terrific scrap going on out the back between the two Aussie boys. I tell you what, got to keep your eyes on that, but Saifutinov now finally gets himself to the frontals down. Kolodze looks quick to more than him.
Holder, who is in 8th place, he's fortunate that the guy behind him, Freddie Lindgren, isn't quite on the pace tonight, so Holder at the moment holds that 8th place, the final automatic place for next year.
Good start initially from Kolodze, and a very good first corner where he switches back up the inside, but look at Saifutinov. He absolutely looked to go to the inside and then allows the bike to run right round in the grip on the outside and then powers back to the front. It was tight going into the first turn for the second time of asking. Kolodze makes a good start initially and then comes sweeping across, allows the bike to run out in the first turn, and then Saifutinov and then gets up the inside. Good opening lap there from the Russian, and he powers himself to the front because Kolodze looks fired up tonight, there's no question about that. The two Aussies out the back, they scrap for that point with Holder finally getting it.
Well, I can tell you that when you look at the scores there, Holder on 3 and Saifutinov on 5, I can tell you that normally in a Grand Prix we have an interval after heat number 12 of anywhere in the region of, 12 to 15 minutes. But
well, we do normally,
they
yes.
have cut it down to 7 minutes tonight because of the threatening weather forecast and the fact that we did have a delayed start here in Gorzow. There's the race for the silver medal that you can see there. Jonsson leads by a point over Hampel, and Jonsson has got a race in hand, which is here, heat number 11.
And it is some race indeed. Plenty of heat winners coming out here. Hancock, Jonsson, Harris and Crum all won their last races in fine style, so something I'll have to give here, but certainly an opportunity for Jonsson to surge ahead in the chase for the silver medal.
Hancock off the inside with Jonsson on 2, Chris Harris off gate 3, Jason Crump off the outside then. This is heat number 11 here in Gorzow, Poland, and away from the start. It's a good one for Hancock. Jonsson loops and almost loses it there with Harris coming around the outside of Hancock, and now Chris Harris, it's almost wheel to wheel there, but Hancock holds a line. Chris Harris is second and he's going into the dirt. Has he got the speed, Chris Harris? He's just passed the world champion. What a ride from Chris Harris. Is he riding himself into contention for next year's Grand Prix? Can he start looking at tickets for an airfare to New Zealand in March, I wonder?
Quite possibly, but Jonsson's out the back, Nigel, and that's disappointment for him. He is failing to take advantage of that race in hand. Out in front, Harris was absolutely fabulous. He got himself in that grip round the outside in turns 3 and 4. Got to the front, but Hancock's chasing hard. Crump's there in third place. Jonsson's being tailed off. Can the Brit out in front? Can he keep the world champion at bay?
1 lap to go. Chris Harris with the lead. Second place, Greg Hancock. Jason Crump is third. Jonsson trailing at the back. And now Crump is going to have one last go in the dirt to try and get around Hancock. But Hancock's held the line, and the win is for Chris Harris of Great Britain, who once again is doing himself proud here tonight with a superb display, typical British Bulldog spirit from Chris Harris.
Back-to-back wins for Chris Harris, absolutely superb performance from him, roaring round the outside in turns 3 and 4 there to pass the world champion, bearing in mind the world champion was unbeaten at that point. That's great stuff from him, 7 points, and you're right, Nigel, he could just be giving himself a lifeline for his Grand Prix future.
He wants it, that's obvious from his interviews. Harris the winner with Hancock second, Jason Crump was third. This is what it means now after 11 races. Hancock and Pedersen level on 8 apiece. Harris now on 7 points. And remember, he was leading his first ride when the race was stopped and finished third. But that was superb from Chris Harris, who went out in the dirt and got the better of the world champion.
He did indeed. and it's coming off the start. He made a decent effort there. Hancock goes right round the inside, down the back straight. He gets his nose in front, but look at Harris. He's so determined and so brave. Gets right out in that grip, and the bike pulls him really hard. Look at that, little bit out of shape, railing round in the dirt. Johnson there trying to follow him through, but fails to do so. Harris gets himself to the front, absolutely chuffed to bits to pick up back-to-back wins. Frustration for Johnson when he had that race in hand, when he could have stretched his lead over Hampel. Still neck and neck for the silver medal.
Well, Johnson leads by 1 point, Kel, which is nearly neck and neck.
Yeah.
Sorry,
mate. Nearly got it right.
It's the end of the season. It's been a long season, Kel.
Indeed it has.
Hey, we've loved it, though. We've had a great league in the UK, haven't we?
We have, and the playoff on Monday, I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. And tonight, I'm thoroughly enjoying tonight. Of a difficult start, under difficult conditions, we're beginning to see some excellent stuff out there.
Yeah, it's quick. It's a fast track, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They really are powering on, and they're rushing through with the heats, which is keeping everybody well and truly entertained. And we've got Thomas Golub coming out once again now. Can he pick up a heat win here?
And over the last 3 heats, we've seen Gate 3 and White provide the race winner over the last 3 heats. And Thomas Golub is the man with the white helmet colour on in gate number 3 this time. So here's your lineup then. Kenneth Pierre going off the inside in red. Bruno Holter yet to score off 2. Golub off 3. Laguta going off the outside. This is heat number 12. And Golub now, can he make that start? Hasn't made the best of starts, but has got that lead early on. Golub goes wide. Pierre nips up the inside. Oh, Golub just didn't look quick enough there, because Pierre was able to just pick his pocket there and nip into the lead. Holter's having a nightmare and has gone down. Bruno Holter at the back has been taken out by Laguta. The red light will inevitably come on, I'm sure, and this race is going to have to be stopped. The red lights are on now, and Holter, well, it's fair to say,
he's having a shocker.
He's having a nightmare.
He's having a shocker, and yeah, there may well have been contact between him and Laguta. I'll need to see the replay. I was concentrating on the boys out in front. But yeah, Rooney Holter, it's a night possibly he'll want to forget. Here we see it. No, it kind of comes in on the outside there, and just don't think there was any contact. He just runs in on the deep stuff on the outside and just doesn't turn.
Well, he made a gesture as though he wasn't happy when he came down there.
Well, he clearly isn't happy because he hasn't failed to score tonight. So, you know, he's having an absolutely nightmare meeting. And to be perfectly honest, nobody else to blame but himself. And he is excluded. The blue exclusion light is on.
Yep, so 3 riders only once again. Have to ask the question as to whether his wrist problems are contributing to his problems here for Rune Holter.
Possibly.
In difficult, heavy conditions.
Yeah.
Maybe he might not have the strength.
Well,
Only he knows.
He ran into that corner, Nigel, and he sort of rolled the throttle off, and the bike didn't turn. And then when you're in the deep stuff on the outside and you touch the throttle again, the bike then just drove forward. Frustration, you can sympathise. You know, the man had a fabulous season last year. It has been anything but that this time around. Looks like it could very well be his last Grand Prix. He's running in the deep stuff there, his legs out the back, runs into the bottom of the air fence and slips off. And I feel for him, because he's shown a lot of courage over the years, that man. He has had to battle and fight for every point he's ever earned in the Grand Prix. Tonight, so far, has failed to finish. And, of course, he won the Czech Golden Helmet just last weekend, so he's in pretty good form. So tonight, it just hasn't happened for him.
Yeah, just one of those things for Rune Holter. Question has to be asked: would you pick him as a wild card for next year's series?
I don't think that'll happen.
Or is it all over for him?
I don't think that'll happen. It's a shame, and I think he's always had to earn his place. You know, when he's battled to get in the top 8 many times, he's been the Houdini man many a times, hasn't he? Out of nowhere, he's managed to get himself into the top 8. But tonight and this season, it just hasn't worked out for him. And yeah, I think it may well be his last Grand Prix.
So the riders will be allowed some time here to prepare for the restart of heat number 12. After this race, every rider will have completed 3 rides, and, well, Rune Holter, you have to have some sympathy for him. And it's just one of those nights for Holter. He just knows that it's all going wrong for him. Going to try and speak to the referee, I think. Won't change his mind, of course, but he's going to try and speak to the referee anyway. Artem Laguta, who has looked a lot more like it in the GP over the last couple of rounds. Had that problem where he had an issue with his visa and didn't get to Cardiff, of course. He was ill for another round. But he has looked a lot quicker in the last few rounds.
Yes, and I'm delighted for him, because it must have been soul-destroying turning up at Grand Prix and failing to score and really feeling the odd one out. and he's been part of the show in the last couple of Grand Prix, and he's having a go here this evening. I'm a little bit concerned about Gorzow, you know. He made a good start there, but then got completely beaten up going around the first corner, with Pierre getting the better of him, coming out of the first turn and down the back straight. You just know Gorzow is a hugely proud man in front of his home crowd here. He'll be really keen to do well, but for whatever reason, this season certainly he hasn't been able to reproduce the stunning performances of last year, apart from in the World Cup. And it slightly puzzles me why he hasn't been able to, almost like that was, he did that performance in the World Cup and just hasn't been able to then reproduce anything like that.
Yeah.
And here in Gorzow, you just sense that, you know, this is an opportunity for him to finish the season in fine style.
Absolutely, Kelvin. I just wonder with a rider like Gorzow, you know, when he senses that his grip on the world title is coming to an end, I just wonder psychologically, is he the type of guy, not necessarily gives up, but really tweaks his machinery, tries different things too much? But who am I to question a world champion?
Well, he's always done that, and he has won the World Championship, but a few years ago we saw him sort of throw the towel in a few times, particularly when the temporary tracks were a bit dodgy and he didn't really fancy it. But over the last couple of seasons he's been highly motivated, and we haven't seen him. So, you know, the second half of this year, particularly the second half of this year, he's been disappointing.
Well, thankfully the rain has held off. There's a little bit of drizzle, but as I said earlier, more rain forecast from 10 o'clock tonight, so hopefully we'll get through this meeting. Kenneth Pierre off the inside, no rider off gate number 2, Tomasz Golub going off gate number 3, Artem Laguta off the outside. Pierre was involved in some good racing there and showed a good line and some good pace in that first staging of that race.
Yeah, he was clever around the first corner when Golub went searching for the grip up high. Pierre was able to tuck back to the inside and got his nose in front, but they're settling down now. Will Golub has learned from that.
Heat number 12 it is then here in Gorzow and away from the start this time. Golub has made a better one, but Pierre is there once again. Now Laguta's going to switch up the inside. Artem Laguta down the back straight, and now here comes Golub. Whoa, Tomasz Golub at his very best, going high into the dirt now, and Golub is going to take the lead down this home straight, and Gorzow erupts. What a ride from Mr. G.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Golub. Artem Laguta had a good look over his right shoulder, almost intimidated by the fact that Golub was charging hard and allowed plenty of racing room for the top pole there out in front. Golub getting his head down, winding on, desperately wanting to do well. Pierre there in third place, trying to find a way around the outside of Artem Laguta, and Laguta is riding much, much better here this evening. This is more like it from the young Russian, but out in front, Golub, he's got things under control.
Golub has that lead. He is a real celebrity here in Poland. In fact, the local shopping mall here in Gorzow, they have got a club shop, a Gorzow club shop in the main shopping area here. And, well, Tomasz Golub posters and T-shirts to a roaring trade. Golub with the win, Laguta second, Pierre was third. And listen to the roar here. What an atmosphere. They love their speedway here in Gorzow. It's the focal point of the community, no doubt about that. Fans of all ages, knowing it's a long old winter and desperate to see their man do the business here. Well, what a ride that was from Tomasz Golub. As long as he gets into the semi-final, he still gives himself a chance of winning the Grand Prix. That's the way it works. Golub the winner. Second place was Artem Laguta, who had that clever switch back up the inside early on. And third place there went to Kenneth Pierre. Now, every rider has completed 3 rides. Tomasz Golub moves on to 6. He's in the semi-final positions. Pierre on 4, Laguta 3, Halter yet to score.
Well, that was much more like it from Tomasz Golub that time. The first race win for him on the night, and this is the reason why. It was tight in the first corner, and as you rightly said, Nigel, a very good move from Artem Laguta here as Pierre and Tomasz Golub go searching for the grip right out wide. Here he comes, the young Russian, sneaks around the inside, cheeky, but I just sense he knew that Golub was going to come charging down the outside. He had a look over his right shoulder. Golub then gets himself to the front. We're looking at the start again. It's tight going in the first corner with him and Pierre. He rushes up that banking into the dirt. There goes Laguta. But Golub responds so well. That's a classic Golub move down the outside, generating so much speed on the back wheel, looking really good. But a vital win for him. I sense that he may well just settle a little bit now.
12 heats gone here in Gorzow, and there will be now a 5-minute gap before we resume heat 13. Golub on to 6 points then, in with a chance of the semi-finals, and whilst that's the case, he's still got a chance of winning here in his home country.
Indeed he has, and you know, he can get into that irresistible form. He certainly was pretty impressive that time out.
Well, Chris Louis from Sky Sports in the pits tonight with Chris Harris.
It's a great start to tonight's meeting and a great win over the current champion, or will be current champion, Greg Hancock.
Yeah, it's going good, making some really good starts and good first corners, and had to work a little bit that trying to get past Greg, but you know, he left plenty of room for me to go around him, and yeah, it was the bike's working really well.
You seem to be enjoying the track conditions, but I noticed after you wheelied going into the corner one lap, you came back to the inside a little bit more.
Yeah, it is a bit tricky way to ride, but yeah, I just thought trying to cover every line possible and make sure the boys behind can keep guessing.
You need to put yourself in the shop window tonight. I mean, a second place in Gorzow did that, no harm at all, but you really want to be back in the GPs next year.
Oh, definitely. I want to be in these Grand Prix for a long time, and you know, I'm trying to chase another win as well. It's been a long time since I won a Grand Prix, so hopefully tonight will be the one.
Well, performances like so far tonight won't do you any harm.
We'll keep battling away.
Thanks, mate. Well done.
Good work from Chris Harris, and well, excellent racing from him.
Yes.
I have to say that when you look at the nominations, the wildcards for next year, I've just asked on Twitter for a few suggestions from supporters.
Right.
And one tweet has come in: Chris Harris, Nicky Pedersen, Freddie Lindgren and Kelvin Tatum.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. Jason Crump is down in the pits with Steve Brandon.
Wow, very, very positive words there from Chris Harris, and you have to say...
He's buzzing, isn't he?
He really is, and as I say, I was really refreshed to see how positive he was before the meeting started, so he's clearly really fired up for a big night, you know, and that's really good on him, really pleased for him.
Well, heat number 13 coming up. Once we get through to heat 16, we know that we have got a result, and it's not an issue at the moment because it's not raining, we're pleased to report. Although, as I said earlier, there is more rain forecast at around 10 o'clock Polish time tonight. And wherever you are around the world, we hope you're enjoying our coverage. It's been an absolute delight once again to bring you the action on the Speedway Grand Prix circuit, particularly to our friends in Australia. And hope you can join us again on Monday, where Kelvin and I will be back in the UK for Poole against Eastbourne in the Elite League, Monday night British time, which will be, what, early hours of Tuesday morning, is it, for the Australians watching the action with us on Monday/Tuesday.
Absolutely. Hampel there looking on, frustrated after his last ride. So was Johnson. Both of them failed to score. That really scored. Of course, quite a shock and a surprise to all of us, not least the riders themselves. But we're up now. Nicky Pedersen's back at the tapes. Artem Laguta, who's also enjoying a much better meeting here this evening. Ward, who was a little disappointing last time out, looking for points this time out.
So you line up for heat number 13, then Artem Laguta goes off the inside. Gate 2 is Darcy Ward, 4 points to his name, with Jason Crump off gate 3 and Nicky Pedersen off gate number 4. 6 world titles between the outside 2 gates. Laguta and Ward can only dream of one world title at this young stage of their career.
Well, 2 under-21 world titles for Ward, of course.
Yes, of
obviously
course.
Junior world titles, but certainly the big grown-up ones belong to the two lads on the outside.
The masters against the pupils here. Heat number 13 of the Gorzow Grand Prix of Poland. Pedersen has made a stunning start off gate number 4. He has been brilliant tonight. Nicky Pedersen has that lead then. Now Darcy Ward in blue is challenging him. Jason Crump is going to have a go on Ward by going up the inside line here. Nicky Pedersen holds the lead and is going into the dirt and getting great drive. Darcy Ward of Australia second. Jason Crump of Australia third. Laguta trailing at the back. Ward's looking quick, but Nicky Pedersen, Kelvin, what can we say about his form tonight?
Back to his best, Nige. That's what I say about his form. Brilliant out of gate 4. Superb stuff from him. Ward's riding a really tight line and generating a lot of pressure on Nicky Pedersen. Once again, right round the inside, and he's very nearly alongside him coming out of turn 2 the second time around. Crump's been tailed off in third place, but Pedersen out in front is looking great.
Pedersen now going into that last lap, looking so quick here, has made changes to his backroom team, and Ward holds the inside and has done it now! He's closed the gap!
Fantastic move from Darcy Ward! Has Pedersen got any answers round the last corner on the last lap?
And Krupp's coming back for more, down to the line! Oh! Great Speedway! Oh, and Nicky Pedersen goes into Darcy Ward. I think he's apologising now, I don't think he meant that. But Darcy Ward, oh, the fairy tale for this youngster just continues.
You could see that move coming. He was riding that line throughout the race, and the last time around he just went a slightly wider, squared the corner off, and got a fantastic run coming out of turn 2 on the last lap.
Look at this for a finish.
This is the last corner. Ward's looking over at his left hand. He punches the air with delight. Crump wasn't very far away. He could have really got amongst second place, so he's stolen second place. Ward delighted after a disappointing ride last time out. That was a ride out of the top draw, a little bit of contact after the race, but Pedersen immediately apologises. But proper speedway from the young under-21 world champion there, Darcy Ward at his best.
Well, Pedersen's pride is obviously hurt by the fact that he conceded the lead to Darcy there, but you know what? That is another example of why us here always talk about great riders and about fantastic racing, and that's why we big up Darcy Ward. We're not biased, we're just giving an honest opinion of what we see, and Darcy Ward was brilliant. Pedersen second, Crump third, Laguta at the back. And if you want to say that we're biased towards Darcy Ward, well, you better get used to it, because the kid's around for a few years to come yet, Kelvin.
20 years potentially. He's 19 and he's going to be around a while. But this is an excellent performance from Darcy Ward, because he's the only rider that was pulling this move. He's got a smart brain on his young shoulders there, because there's no question. He just kept working away around the inside, figured it out. The outside line wasn't going to work for him. And then he just came up that inside coming out of that last corner, going down the back straight, and got himself to the front. Pedersen out in front initially, battling hard. Ward there, putting pressure on early doors. Crump's in third place. Looked like for all the world that Pedersen was going to win this race, but coming out of turn 2 on the last lap, what a move that was, and he really did line it all up beautifully just before going into the turn. Classy ride there after disappointing in the last one. 7 points out of 4 rides is okay. 10 points from 4 for Pedersen. He'll be chuffed with that.
Absolutely, and Darcy Ward has got a chance of getting through to the semi-finals again in the Grand Prix, and I just wonder if this will just put in the frame of mind to accept a wild card for next year, although there is talk that the Polish League are going to restrict clubs to 1 Grand Prix rider per meeting.
At the moment they are, and that makes it difficult with clubs with 2 or 3 of them. And of course Holder is already at Torrent as a Grand Prix rider.
Kolodze, Pierre, Hancock, and then the outside is Freddie Lindgren here in Gorzow. So yeah, plenty of talk about the restriction of Grand Prix riders next season in the Polish League, and that will make riders think, I'm sure, when they come to sign their contracts for next year. This is heat number 14, and away from the start, Hancock in white, the world champion, simply superb there. Second place in red here is Janis Kolodze, but Lindgren comes around now. Freddie Lindgren moves into second place. Kenneth Pierre, disappointingly for him, is trailing at the back, but the lead is with Greg Hancock, who's destined for a place in the semi-finals yet again, Kelvin.
Yeah, looking terrific out in front. Gate 3 working really well for him once again. He's out in front, looking strong. Lindgren then charged around the outside of Kolodze. Kolodze was in second place only momentarily, because the young Swede makes that second place his. Unfortunately for Kenneth Pierre out the back, he's struggling a bit. Gate 2 not working out for him, but the world champion out in front after being beaten up last time by Chris Harris is responding in grand style. He's got this one well and truly under control.
Yeah, Greg, Herbie, Hancock then moving on to 11 points if it stays like this now, going down that back straight for the final time in heat number 14. Freddie Lindgren, a couple of points here will put him on to 5, so he's still going to need a race win from his last ride to qualify for the semi-finals. But a win for Greg Hancock. Freddie Lindgren second, third there was Janis Kolodze, and Kenneth Pierre trailing at the back is now only on 4 points, and again it's an enigmatic Kenneth Pierre here tonight in Gorzow. But Greg Hancock, watched by his family here tonight, enjoying their speedway, the stars and stripes flying high. Such a hugely popular character. I know there's many fans as well that have travelled here from his first British club, Cradley Heath, where he started back in 1989, and Hancock punches the air with delight. The sport's nice guy delighted for him.
Super nice guy, and after each victory, he's going around giving plenty of opportunity for the crowd to celebrate with him. He is on a high, and he's riding like a world champion there. 11 points out of 12. Terrific stuff from him.
Not bad. Freddie Lindgren second. Super. Hancock moves on to 11 now and leads the Grand Prix a point ahead of Nicky Pedersen. Lindgren on 5, Kolodze on 5, and Bier frustratingly on 4 points. But that man, Greg Hancock, with the help of Stefan Andersson, the former rider in the pits area, once again tonight. What a start off Gate 3.
Gate 3, powers to the front, and he gets there round that first corner looking good. Kolodze up the inside, rides a good first turn, but Lindgren has more momentum down the back straight and slips into second place. Greg has a pretty straightforward ride out in front, you have to say. Lindgren doesn't put him under too much pressure, and Hancock, of course, the world champion, will be chuffed to pieces. He's already through to the semi-finals on 11 points and really enjoying. It's like a celebration time, isn't it? Richard Charles, of course, there, the manager, he's enjoying it as well. But what can you say? You know, the superlatives were running out of them for Greg Hancock. All I can say, he has never ridden better.
Well, now the race is on for second spot. And here we have heat number 15.
Nearly neck and neck, isn't it, Nige?
Nearly, again.
Yeah.
Hampel then in the red helmet colour. He needs to get back on track here because he was disappointed with his last outing, of course, Jarek Hampel, where he finished stone last, and he needs to get it right here because we've got Andreas Jonsson waiting to pounce in heat number 16. Here's your lineup then. Jarek Hampel going off the inside with Chris Harris off gate number 2. Can he book his place in the semi-finals with a race to spare? Thomas Golub gate 3. Chris Holder going off the outside in the yellow helmet colour. This is heat number 15. And Jarek Hampel in red,
wow,
desperate for victory.
He needs to bounce back here, and he's up against it. Gate 1 is not ideal at this stage of the meeting. Golub a winner last time, Harris a winner last time. Competitive race.
Well, Chris Harris would be delighted to book his place in the semi-finals here, make no mistake about that. He's made a good start as well, but so has Hampel off the inside. Golub's going to have to go wide. Holder now trying to chop through the inside, and Harris up the inside. Oh, surely they're going to come off there. Now they're straight on the bike.
Oh, Golub steamed up the inside of Harris. I thought he was going to take it.
Oh, Harris has crashed into Golub.
Oh, Golub goes down. Drama coming out of turn 4, the opening lap. Red lights on.
Harris is going to be excluded for that. Harris is going to be excluded for that. There's no question in my mind.
Significant contact there going around turns 3 and 4, and yes, Harris did slam in the side of Golub. Golub was tough going into turn 3, roared up the inside, and then Harris was able to respond and got back up the inside. We're seeing it again there. Yeah, rode straight in the side of him. He'll have to go.
Yeah, we're waiting for the decision of the referee who's watching the replay here. There's no exclusion light on as yet.
The only mitigating circumstances are,
He's
Nigel,
gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he did pull a bit of a lock of Golub there as Harris got loads of drive, but you can't ride in the side of a rider. You can see there Golub was very vulnerable, you know, and you do have sympathy for Harris, but he did collect him and down he went, and you can understand the referee excluding him. But I do have some sympathy for Harris. Was not intentional, just got himself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, he's not arguing with the decision, is he? I think he probably expected it.
No, but I can see, when you see the replay again, Golub does pull a big locker and loses all his momentum, just as Harris is getting loads of drive. And unfortunately for Chris Harris, who's enjoying a great night, that sort of just dampened things down a wee bit.
Yeah, and we'll have a bit of a gap in proceedings whilst we await the restart now.
You see it now, Golub roars up the inside, gets himself into third place, then pulls a big locker as Harris gets loads of grip, and he's carrying more speed and just can't avoid him. And unfortunately for Chris, you can't get away with that. And he just knocks him, well, he slammed in the side of him and cleaned him up. But yeah, tough.
If there's one man, even in a 50-50 situation in Poland, that you don't want to be involved in it with, it's Thomas Golub, because you're on a loser, aren't you?
You are indeed.
That was less than 50-50. That was more clear-cut.
Yes.
And Harris now, Kelvin, as because of the fact that he won't score here, Harris now has put pressure on himself in his last outing to get points on the board to get into the semis.
He's out in heat 19, Nige. He's coming out of gate 1 against Ward, Bier and Limbach. You'd suggest on the current form he must have a good chance there, but you're right. He's on 7 points. That comfort zone now with 2 rides with 7 points has now evaporated, and he's going to need at least a couple to be absolutely certain of making the top 8 this evening. Golub there, dragging himself back off the track and back into the paddock to get himself ready for the rerun. And of course, in the rerun, that crowd there, that huge capacity crowd here in Gorzow, will be hoping that he can get himself to the front.
Absolutely. There's a terrific atmosphere here tonight in Gorzow. It's a fantastic stadium.
Yeah, it's a proper speedway town, you know. They've got statues of Grand Prix riders in the city itself. They've got logos over buses, all over advertising awning places. It really is the heartbeat of this city. There's no doubt about that.
The Edward Jansart Stadium in memory of the former Wimbledon rider. Darcy Ward now is down in the pits. Let's hear from him with Steve Brandon.
Darcy Ward, for a 19-year-old, you make this look awfully easy at times.
Yeah, I've been having, I guess, a pretty good night. First one, I think gate 4 really is dominating, so just made a start. And then the next two struggled, so changed bikes to that one and seemed to be much better, so keep going.
7 points so far, though, a great return.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get the 9 or 10 so I can secure myself in the semi-final and then go from there. But gate 2 is not the best, and I got it again, so pull something special.
I'm not going to ask you about next year, but you're certainly starting to look ready for this level of speedway.
Yeah, I mean, next year I could be not a very good rider next year, I don't know, but everything's going good. I feel like I can ride in this league, but there's a lot of organisation and a lot of money that's got to be put into it, and the new rule in Poland's not helping me at all.
I think there's an awful lot of people watching you think you're ready, and we'd love to see you next year, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
Well, he mentioned there the new rule in Poland that I alluded to a little bit earlier. It's
Well,
quite clearly playing on riders' minds, Kelvin.
I do know that he's having a lot of pressure from Toron to become their rider again. He's been recalled. He's been out on loan in the second league with Gdansk. And he is, the parent club is Toron, and they are very keen for him to be part of their plans for 2012. But Holder is already a Grand Prix rider, and you cannot have two. So it's not an enviable position that Darcy Ward finds himself in. But there's no question that on his display so far this year, he is ready and waiting to be a Grand Prix rider.
One or two suggestions that Golub maybe put the bike down a bit too easily when he clashed with Chris Harris there. But the bottom line was that there was contact. Harris went up the inside of him, and there was contact as the rain comes down here in Gorzow. It's very heavy rain now, and we are 2 races away from completing 16 heats and getting a result. It's pouring down here now.
This heavy rain is going to make conditions really, really tricky, because the racing surface now is very hard on the inside. You'll see it there. Absolutely no dirt there at all. That's just hard base, and with rain coming down on it, a cold night, it's going to be treacherous going into the corners if this rain continues.
Well, it is going to be very, very tricky. There's no dirt left on probably 2/3 of the track.
It's just right up out by a fence, and riders are going to be searching for that because it's raining hard and it's going to be really difficult. Interesting to see what happens in the first corner.
So Jarek Hampel off the inside, Chris Harris excluded, Thomas Golub off 3, Chris Holder off the outside. Now riders like Hampel and Jonsson will have to start thinking that with the rain coming down, this meeting could be stopped after heat 16, and the result will be declared. And when you look at the situation, the race for silver medal could be affected as a consequence of an abandonment, Kelvin.
Well, absolutely, and they've both got their rights to come. So Hampel, all of a sudden, the significance of this race, if it is called after heat 16, is absolutely crucial for that man now.
So Hampel then under pressure with the rain pouring down here, and he's made a hash of the start. Golub looking good here. Now Chris Holder goes high and wide into the dirt around the outside. Holder down that back straight. Golub and Holder wheel to wheel. Super speedway with the rain pouring down, and Holder now holds that lead with Thomas Golub second and Jarek Hampel third. But Chris Holder,
look at Holder go! He's right out in the grip on the outside. He's charged there. He's figured it out straight away. The 2 Polish riders are just sitting still around the middle of the track. Greasy, tough conditions as the rain pours down. Holder's out in front going great guns, but it is absolutely pouring with rain. Conditions deteriorating before our eyes.
And the riders are getting closer and closer towards the fence because they want to get into the dirt, which is still relatively dry from the new material they put down a little bit earlier. But I'll tell you what, if it carries on raining like this will not go the whole distance. This will have to be stopped. The lead is with Chris Holder, Thomas Golub second, Jara Campbell is in third place, and well, it could well be that we'll do heat 16 and then maybe take a short break to see if the rain clears up. The lead and the victory is with Chris Holder, Thomas Golub second, third Jara Campbell, a point for Hampel and a chance for Jonsson if he can make the start in his next race to really steal a march in the race for the silver medal as they go back to the pits. And the rain, it has to be said, is getting even heavier. They need to get out there now if they're going to do heat 16.
Well,
it needs the race director to put the 2 minutes on immediately and get on with it.
Yeah, and you can see the middle of the track glistening with the water on it where it's absolutely hard, and you saw how brave Holder was there. He charged up right up to the safety fence and generated lots of speed. I suggested that would be the case, and he pulled it off brilliantly. 3 points for Holder, and he needed them.
Yep, second place Golub, third was Jara Campbell and Chris Harris excluded. This is what it means overall. Hancock the leader with Pedersen on 10. And now, if Heat 16 is to be the last race of the night, then Greg Hancock will win the Grand Prix.
Away from the tapes, and initially Golub made an excellent start. He decides to go right round the middle of the track, but because it's raining, he gets no grip and no momentum coming off the corner. Holder comes from the clouds, swoops round the outside and allows the bike to run right up to the safety fence where all that grip is, and he generates loads and loads of speed, and he wins very comfortably in the end. The two poles finding it difficult, but anybody would. Any nationality at this stage would have been struggling there in the middle of the track. Holder on the back wheel down the back straight and be chuffed to bits to pick up a win there.
Well, this rain was forecast for 10 o'clock, so it's come an hour early. But thankfully we are up to heat 16 and it looks like the boys are going to give it a go. Level for second place in the World Championship between Hampel and Jonsson. Jonsson will be conscious of that, and with the rain coming down, he knows that he really needs to score here, needs to get a point under his belt, because there is a serious risk of this meeting not going the distance.
Not
if
ideal.
it finishes level for second spot, then we'll have to have a runoff. But can we have a runoff if they decide that they can't go any further after 16 heats? Can they stretch it to a 17th heat? Or will it go maybe on the fact that there's, I don't know, the amount of Grand Prix wins, which Jonsson has won 3 this year?
Possibly, yeah. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. That will be far from ideal. We want to see it go to its conclusion on the track and see these guys battle out for it. But Hampel certainly has slipped up in his last 2 rides. He's only scored 1 point from his last 2 rides. And that's opened the door once again for Jonsson, who failed to take advantage his first time. Can't afford to do that now. Don't get too many second chances in Grand Prix Speedway.
Here's your lineup for heat number 16 then. Andreas Jonsson going off the inside, needs a point here. Gate 2, Antonio Lindback, Rune Holter third, and Emil Seifudenov trailing, going off gate number 4 here. They know the rain is threatening this meeting. It has to be. They will try and get on with it and try and extend it past heat number 16, I'm sure.
It's such a shame, isn't it? It's been super speedway, and the rain has come at a time where it could well spoil proceedings, but they settle down. Can Jonsson do it on the inside?
Heat number 16 it is then here at the FIM Gorzow Grand Prix of Poland, and away from the start. It's a good one from the man in gate number 2, Antonio Lindback, and Seifudenov goes wide. Jonsson has got third place. That will take him a point ahead of Hampel, and what a ride that is from the man in yellow, Emil Seifudenov, making light of the conditions here. He has that lead, and now Jonsson is going to have a real go to try and get the better of his fellow countryman. Antonio Lindback, he goes into the dirt. Oh my goodness
How
me!
brave was that move? He just crept round to the outside of Antonio Lindback. Terrifically brave move there from Andreas Jonsson. 2 points will do very nicely indeed. So Budanov out in front is looking good. Look at Jonsson go. He's charging really hard. The rain's pouring down. Conditions are unbelievable. But the young Russian has got it under control.
Well, they're going so wide towards the fence, and with visibility an issue, they need to be very careful here. Jonsson knows that the dirt is where the drive is.
Whoa.
And he's getting closer to Seifudenov. He's getting closer and closer. Oh, there's no room to get past. What a race this is as the rain pours down here. One last swoop from Andreas Jonsson in red. Seifudenov holds the line. Is there room for Jonsson?
Not quite.
Oh, Seifudenov closes the door.
What a spectacular ride that was from Andreas Jonsson. If he secures the silver medal with that ride, it will be fully deserved because he went for it. He didn't really need to push that hard, but by golly, he really did go for the win. Just failed on the rush to the line there because that man was able to hang on there. Sayfutdinov out in front. Terrific speedway under the very demanding conditions with the rain continuing to pour down. But got to say, Andreas Jonsson showed fabulous courage there. Took a few chances, just about pulled it off.
Yeah, and Jonsson now goes 2 points ahead of Jarek Campbell in the race for the silver medal. The rain coming down. The pit gate is shut because we have a natural break before the next race, heat 17. Emil Sayfutdinov the winner, Andreas Jonsson second, Antonio Limbat was third, and Rune Holter trailing at the back. A nightmare night for Holter, but overall the standings now look like this. Greg Hancock leads the GP on 11, Sayfutdinov and Jonsson in the top 8.
Oh, back-to-back wins for Sayfutdinov. He'll be chuffed to bits about that, but conditions are far from ideal. The rain is still pouring down. We're seeing the replay now. Jonsson's coming out of gate 1. Doesn't make a good start. Limback there slams the door shut. Look at Sayfutdinov. You can see how wide he's having to go. He went a country mile around that first corner and just about gets around the outside of Limback down the back straight. Bounces off the air fence. Really terrific performance from him, but gotta say, the entertainer in this race was Andreas Jonsson. The pass initially to get round the outside, we're going to watch it now. Look at that. Oh, that was terrific move there from Andreas Jonsson to find his way into second place, and he then set about Sayfutdinov. There's the points. Jonsson sits in second place. If it's called now, the silver medal will be his.
So Greg Hancock, 165, 40 points clear of Jonsson, who's 2 points ahead of Hampel. And the rain seems, to me, to be getting heavier out there. Conditions getting treacherous now. Well, Chris Louis of Sky Sports is down in the pits with Chris Holder.
Chris, in the context of the race for the top 8, that was a massive race win.
Yeah, I needed it, mate. I was struggling big time with my starts today. Have been terrible, and changed everything. I was changing goggles, gloves, I've changed suit, changed bikes, and that one, it worked. I wish I just, started on that bike would have been nice.
These are not the conditions to be missing starts in, though. The track is getting pretty wet out there now.
Yeah, it's really wet, and I think my second race, when I missed it, I ate so much dirt in the first lap. It was, I nearly stopped. But yeah, the conditions now are pretty bad. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they're going to do now because it's a lot of rain.
Well, by my maths, you still need a couple of points if Freddie or Nicky go unbeaten for the rest of the meeting. So perhaps you'll be looking for a rain-off after this.
Yeah, of course I am. But then again, Kenneth's sort of not going so well. I could peg him back as well. He's only probably 1 point ahead of me now. So if we've got to keep going, we'll keep going. But it's going to be tricky.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was a big race for Chris Holder, but look at the rain coming down, and you can see now the track is just deteriorating. And if this rain continues, Calvin, there is no way we're going to see any more Speedway, is there?
No, it will be a terrible shame because it's been really good stuff after, an indifferent start when riders were a little bit cautious about the tricky conditions. It then settled down and we've seen some great stuff, but that rain has come in early. It wasn't expected until 10, as you said, but it's come in a bit early and it seems pretty set in, and the track is very tricky and there will be a delay, and we've got to keep, I want to see more exciting Speedway, and fingers crossed that it passes and we can complete the night. But it will be a shame if they call it now because it's not totally satisfactory with so many things still to be answered. But that rain is coming down heavy and it's pretty set in.
Absolutely, and such a shame when this happens, as you say, because despite the rain that we had before the meeting, Kelvin, I think there's been some periods of good Speedway tonight.
Well, there's been 2 or 3 races that have been out of the top draw. That man talking to Tony Olsen, of course, the race director, he's under pressure. He's going to have to make a decision because Pedersen has been enjoying a really good night of Speedway, and he's been putting himself back in the shop window for a wildcard pick for next season. There's no doubt about that. But as you said, if this rain keeps up, there's no way. It won't. It'll have to be called to a halt.
Yes, the riders, the race director Tony Olsen having a chat. It's just good that we've got through to 16 heats. I mean, Jarek Campbell won't thank me for saying it because he'd like a full meeting to challenge for silver, but it's good that we've got through to 16 heats, and therefore we can get a result tonight. There's the battle for the top 8. Chris Holder 11 clear of Fredrik Lindgren, 12 clear of Nicky Pedersen. But surely Lindgren and Pedersen will be under the microscope from the organisers for a place next year as the rain continues to fall.
Well, they'll have a good chance of a pick, those two riders you mentioned, and when you look ahead, you know...
Oh, look at that rain.
Yeah, well, they're brave. Rather them than me, I can tell you that, but certainly when you look ahead to Heat 18, when Hampel and Johnson were going to go head-to-head, shame that we might not see that.
Well, we have got a little bit more entertainment with the cheerleaders here. Greg Hancock's family, family and friends that have travelled from California for tonight as well. Well, Kelvin Tatum just a few moments ago moaning about how cold it is, and yet look at these girls. They're not worried. They're just going to entertain the crowd here.
Thanks, Nige.
Well, I was moaning as well, to be fair. But we are behind glass and undercover here. For those of you that are concerned, thanks very much for that. Yeah, the way the rain's coming down now, you only have to look at the track, and it's only a matter of time before it's beyond repair, Kelvin, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a terrible shame. You know, it's we were enjoying a good Grand Prix. There's a full house. Nobody wants to see it called to a halt, but there's plenty of discussion going on in the paddock. Hampel, you have sympathy for him. Things haven't quite worked out, but he just miss a trick. He looked so convincing in his opening ride. And then the last two, where he only got 1 point from 2 rides, you know, effectively Johnson with that hugely courageous ride last time out in difficult conditions. Got to say that he has battled on, but that man won't want it called off.
No, of course he won't. But ultimately, you've got to look at the bigger picture here, and I'm sure they're going to give it a bit of time before they have to make a final decision, I'm sure.
Well, the stature of the event, the last round of the World Championship with decisions to be made, I'm sure that they will be patient. But as I said just a few moments ago, the rain looks like it's really settled in, and that's not good news.
We thought it was settled in earlier, and we were concerned that this meeting may not take place at all. Pedersen, Crump and Hampel having a chat about things. So, yeah, it's one of those... I'm quite sure in March the weather will be a little bit better than this in Auckland, in New Zealand. Nicky Pedersen is ready to talk to us. He's down in the pits with Steve Brandon.
Nicky, I've just seen you talking to Jason and Jarek, all about safety for the riders at the minute.
Yeah, at least we can stick together, you know, when the conditions is like this, you know. Obviously, I'm looking at myself at the moment. I feel I'm having a pretty good night, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, the rain comes, you know, then it's all going to be a lottery now. So we got to wait and see if it stopped raining, you know, and if it stopped raining, they got to put some new material on. So, yeah, we have to see what's happening.
I think you sold yourself short. I think you're having a very good night. 10 points, second at the moment.
Yeah, I'm very happy, you know, and then all of a sudden the rain comes, you know. It's I don't think anybody wants that, you know, because then the setup you had all night, you can take that and throw it over the shoulder. That's worth nothing now.
We go to some big places now, big stadiums, great atmosphere. This place right up there among the best atmosphere place we go to.
This is a fantastic place, you know, and I know we did the playoff here and we got caught up with the rain as well, and then the promoter was talking about that we got to put some roof on, so that would be nice to come to the Grand Prix next year with a roof on here as well.
You said to me earlier in the night you're going to need a wild card for next year, but how important is a good finish to make a good start to 2012?
Well, I think I need a good finish just to get the wild card, so that's why I'm here tonight. You know, I have been struggling a bit, you know, but the boys have been working hard tonight, and I feel motivated, you know. So far we've been doing okay.
We talked about with Greg for a long time about he still believed he was going to be a world champion again. I'm sure that belief hasn't gone from you.
That's for sure. I mean, in the lakes and stuff, I can beat the boys still, you know, and you have seen me on the best. I have still been winning races and stuff, you know, so I know I got the thing in me, you know, and the day I think I can't get into top 3, you know, I don't really want to be in here, so I'm keep fighting.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Still a determined character, and yeah, he has got what it takes. We've seen that tonight, 10 points to his name, and he has been superb tonight. Even if it is called off now, or the meeting stopped, or abandoned, whatever word you want to use, Nicky can look back on a positive night from 4 rides.
Yeah, much more like it for Nicky Pedersen. Got a feel for Hampel. Oh, conditions are that's not looking good, is it? The surface water now is getting
Nicky mentioned about new material as well, Calvin. That will take a long time to get new material down as well, won't it?
It's not looking good, Nige. It's not looking good, and it's far from satisfactory. And before they put any new material on the track, of course, it has to stop raining. Otherwise, you just get a whole sloppy mess out there. So frustration for everybody concerned. This crowd doesn't want to see it called now. They've been treated to some super speedway so far this evening, and all of us want to see it go right through to the grand final tonight. But with that rain coming down, it's looking less and less likely.
Well, Thomas Gollop is now going to have a chat with Steve Brandon.
Thomas, appreciate your time. Rider safety at this point must be important to everyone. We've got to keep guys safe.
Yes, now it's problem the weather is much rainy. There's no trace in the corona. It's a big problem all riders, and I think it's stop meeting. I think.
Now, 2011 hasn't been the year you were looking for, but a word about the new world champion Greg Hancock. He's been fantastic.
This is not my year in the Greg. Is absolutely favorite in this year, and it's much points. Congratulations, Greg and Andreas and Jarek Hampel in third place. Absolutely the best, Greg.
Now, you've got some very loyal fans here in Gorzow. Be your turn now. Speak to them in Polish. Say thank you to them.
Witam serdecznie wszystkich Polaków. Dziękujemy wam bardzo serdecznie za doping i za trzymanie kciuków. Byliście dzisiaj wspaniali, zapraszam na następne zawody. Bez was te zawody byłyby nudne i nie tak jak dzisiaj wyglądały. Chcieliśmy dzisiaj być na podium. Jarka macie dzisiaj na podium, wielkie gratulacje, wielki wyczyn Polaka, jest trzeci w Mistrzostwach Świata. Ja muszę popracować i obiecuję, że za rok wrócę na podium.
Just one quick word, Thomas. Obviously the World Championship starts next year on the other side of the world. Exciting for the riders.
Jedziemy w przyszłym roku do Nowej Zelandii, zaczynamy tą całą serię, to znaczy, że żużel się pnie w górę. Zapraszamy was do Nowej Zelandii, a być może będziemy kończyć w Gorzowie. Dziękuję.
Just for the people watching in Australia and New Zealand, what did you say? Are you excited about going to New Zealand?
I raced in New Zealand in the first Grand Prix and I'm very happy and absolutely the best in one Grand Prix in New Zealand.
We'll see you in 2012. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, real credit as world champion Thomas Gollop. He's one of those riders that really is such a credit to the sport in terms of box office. People will travel a long way to go and see him. The rain is easing up here, but the track is now in a pretty desperate state, has to be said. Just a steady drizzle now, Kel.
Yeah, it is. Possibly the damage has been done. It may be beyond pulling back in a sensible amount of time for the meeting to continue. Riders are on the track. Obviously, plenty of concern about conditions, but I suggest if the meeting is to continue, we do need the rain to stop. It must stop, and then they can work on the track and then try and get some racing on. But looking at that picture, it isn't easing off that much.
Well, the procedure tonight after the last race of the night will be that we have the top three from the night to be presented with their prizes, and then immediately after that the top three in the World Championship will take to the podium, and then we'll have a firework display. So that's the plan for the end of the meeting, whether that be now or in about an hour's time. But the drizzle is still coming down, and if there weren't medal positions and top eights to be decided, I think this would have been called off already.
Possibly, and it's a big decision, of course, when there's so much riding on the decision to call a halt to them at tonight's meeting, particularly for the silver and bronze medal. You know, those two boys have yet to race and face each other this evening, and you've got to say that Hampel will be desperate for the rain to stop.
Well, the new world champion, Greg Hancock, is with Sky Sports' Chris Louis.
Greg, rider safety is obviously paramount in times like this, so the organisers just giving another 10 minutes to make a decision, but would be a bit disappointing to end like this, but it's been a fantastic night for you, and you would actually win on the night as well as obviously winning the championship.
Under those circumstances, yeah, it has been a good racetrack. They did credit to the track staff here. They really made this track rideable or raceable. So the weather might spoil it, but maybe not. It's lightening up now, and we just got to think about safety.
I mean, just prior to the last heat, it rained hard, and Andreas Johnson was out there fully committed, riding right around the fence. So it can still be done, but conditions have got a little bit worse since then, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, Andreas, he really stuck his neck out there, and I mean, a lot of talent there. You could see that, and he was just showing that you could go to that extra limit. But it is, the dirt line's gone now, and it's going to be a little bit more interesting if we got to continue.
If we can't get out there anymore, this rain's not going to dampen your celebrations out on the infield when you receive the championship trophy, is it?
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I think we're still going to see the grin out there, aren't we?
Oh, the grin is coming. I can feel it brewing.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, quite a story that would be if it's stopped. And there are the two rivals, Jonsson and Hampel. Jonsson on your left, 125 points. Hampel 2 behind. They're battling for the silver.
And the man in between them, of course, Tony Olsen, he's the one that will be making that decision. The race director, of course, a huge decision whether they continue or they're patient to see if this rain does pass over and then give themselves an opportunity to continue on tonight. But not ideal for those two fellas. Obviously, it will favour Jonsson.
I thought it was slowing up, but it's just got heavier again. You know, it's just, as we say, the information that Chris Louis had appeared to be that they'll give it 10 minutes. That seemed to be the information that Chris was bringing across from the pits area.
I suggest in 10 minutes it'll just be that much wetter, because it doesn't look like it's going to stop in the immediate future. And as I say, I think you're right. I think that if there hadn't been so much riding on tonight, with all these decisions to be made, and you know, the top 3 to be decided, the top 8 to be decided, then quite likely the meeting, because we've got to heat 16 and you can then call a result, it probably would have been called. But you know, concern written all over the faces, and you've got to say that it's going to be very tricky if they do continue.
Yeah, rain continues to fall here, and well, the track itself there, that's on the home straight, as you can see the tapes, but the bends now, where there's actually no dirt apart from probably 2 or 3 meters on the outside of the track. The rest of the track is just concrete with water.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so treacherous. You can see in the background there how it glistens on that hard surface, and that is just treacherous to ride on. There's quite a lot of surface water as you look down in that first corner. There's a dip there we're looking at it right now, and that's going to take some time to clear. But all of this is absolutely dependent on the rain stopping. If the rain stops, then they could possibly get it back on, but it's now been raining for some period of time. It hasn't really eased off, and the signs are, for me, that we could very well be seeing the meeting called to a stop here in Heat 16. There's Christer Gardell, the referee tonight, chatting away with Tony Olsen, trying to get as much information, trying to give himself the best scenario to make that call. That man, I do feel for Hampel tonight. You know, he was slipped up a couple of times in those last couple of rides he's had, and it just hasn't mattered. And that ride from Andreas Jonsson, with that fabulous performance in his last ride to get 2 points to make sure he got into second place, well, that may well just have sealed the silver medal for him, and that'll be the first time he's achieved that sort of position in the World Championship.
Absolutely, Kelvin. So as we speak, the rain continues to pour down here in Gorzow, here in Poland. We did think it was easing up, but that is the podium, where the boys will be up very shortly. Well, I say very shortly after the last race, which might be any time now, I guess. But
we might have seen it, mightn't we?
Yeah, we may have seen it. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, actually.
Well done.
So conditions now, I have to say, are as bad, if not worse, than when we saw a meeting stopped in Gothenburg at the Ullevi Stadium. We were there that night, Kelvin.
Yeah, we were.
We got wet that night, didn't we?
We did, and cold. And it's as you rightly said, I do believe if there wasn't quite as much riding on it, the meeting would have been called to a halt right now. But you can understand the powers that be being reluctant to make a rash decision, a snap decision, if in the next 15-20 minutes the rain stops and everybody drives away from the stadium and there's no rain coming down. That really would be quite difficult. But here we see once again the Tony Olsen there. He's the man at the front of that, walking out. Ollie Olsen, of course, so long the race director just before Tony Olsen. Christer Gardell there on the right-hand side there, he asking for advice. This looks like decision time to me.
Yeah, it does to me as well. Ollie Olsen, the sporting director of BSI Speedway, alongside Christer Gardell there, the referee. Tony Olsen, the SGP race director. Dear, high heels on an infield that's waterlogged.
Not ideal.
Not good. Yeah, but you're right, Kelvin. I think this will have to be decision time now, and surely there's only one decision that can be made. Well, Jarek Hampel is down in the pits, and he's with Chris Louis.
Jarek, you've been out taking a look at track conditions. How do they look out there now?
Well, yeah, track looks not so good really. It's a lot of water, so track is really wet, and for that moment we cannot race now because track looks really bad. So we can wait, but we don't know for how long. Still raining, so it's hard to make a decision.
Such a shame if they call an end to the meeting now, because one of the big battles tonight is between yourself and Andreas Jonsson, who will actually finish ahead of you if we stop now.
Yeah, we should start in the last race, both. So yeah, you know, what can we do? Still raining, and we cannot race now. And I wait with the decision what's going on. But you know what?
Andreas was out there in the last race before, or during the rain when it was at its worst. He looked pretty quick. He was still riding around the fence.
Right, but now tracks it's worse than before, really. So I understand the situation. I'm in touch with the points, but I understand the situation if meeting will cancel it.
Okay, thanks, Jarek.
Thank you.
Well, we are hearing that the meeting has now been stopped, abandoned, and that Andreas Jonsson is second in the world. Silver medal for Andreas Jonsson. Many congratulations to him, and on the form of the second half of the season, he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely, fully deserved. 3 Grand Prix wins in the second half of the season. He's been unbelievably consistent. Just a slight blip in Voyens, but got to say that he really has deserved a fantastic, run of form. He deserves that silver medal. Yeah, got a feel for Hampel, but third place is not so bad. Still top 3 in the world. Still had a pretty good run, but yeah, I think the right decision has been made. There's Christer Gardell, Swedish referee, obviously having a chat with the number 2 in the world. He'll be delighted with that.
Absolutely right. It has been a sensational second half to the season. So we will see no more Speedway here tonight, but we have the presentations of the riders on the night. Greg Hancock has won the FIM Gorzow Speedway Grand Prix of Poland with 11 points ahead of Nicky Pedersen on 10, and third place Emil Sayfutdinov, by virtue of the fact that he got more race wins than Tomasz Golub. 2 wins for Sayfutdinov. That will give him third place on the night. It means that we will now see the presentation of the top 3 on the night, and then the boys will head back to the pits and come back out with the top 3 in the world this year. Rune Holte congratulating Andreas.
Yeah.
So confirmation, if you've just joined us, the word from the pits is that the Grand Prix here in Gorzow has been stopped after 16 heats, and the result will stand. And the rain's still coming down now, so it's a question now, Kelvin, really, of let the celebrations begin, I guess.
Indeed they will, and you're going to see some big broad smiles, not just from the world champion, of course, but from that man as well. That's the best result he's achieved in his Grand Prix career so far. And the question now will be asked about Jonsson: will he be able to put a complete season together? Because on the evidence and the performances of the second half of this year's campaign, he's a genuine world champion threat now. He is, the real deal, and he's put together a run of performances that have been out of the top drawer, and you've got to say that he fully deserves that second place. He's outperformed Hampel in the recent Grand Prix, no doubt about that. Not ideal. It would have been nice to have seen those 2 boys go head-to-head, but yeah, there's going to be great celebrations about to begin.
We can hear from Tony Olsen now with Steve Brandon.
Tony Olsen, FIM race director. Obviously, rider safety is paramount.
Yeah, of course, there is no way we can continue tonight's meeting in these conditions. And if the rain stops, it would take us 1.5 hours to try and redo the track. And we're not sure it's going to be a hold-up for the rest of the evening anyway.
Probably not only the right decision for the riders, but also for the fans sitting in the grandstand.
Of course, I think this is a win-win situation. We got a result, and the fans don't really want to sit and get any wetter than they already have.
Thanks for your time, Tony.
Thank you.
So the meeting stopped, abandoned after 16 heats, and the result stands here in Gorzow. The fans in the stadium haven't actually been told officially, it seems, although a lot of seats have now emptied. But there's quite a lot of people sticking around that want to see the presentations. Emil Sayfutdinov, third on the night. He's with Steve.
Emil Sayfutdinov, third on the night. A good way to finish the season?
Yeah, I think it was very good season, but I have bad luck sometimes. But I'm happy today. I have third place, and yoo-hoo!
I mean, again, Emil, you go away from the end of this year and plan for next year, a big start, a 12-round series. It's going to be a long year.
I think I don't think it's about now next season, because I have in Russian one meeting. We'll see. I must ready for next season and going to gold medal.
Well done tonight, sir.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's ridden well tonight, Seifert, and off 2 wins. He started with the last place as well, so...
He picked it up, didn't he? You know, disappointing early doors, but certainly bounced back big time with 2 back-to-back wins.
Nicky Pedersen is with Steve.
Nicky Pedersen, second on the night, difficult conditions, the right decision for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's they're looking at the condition, and it's still raining. You know, so it's going to take a couple of hours to fix the track again. So definitely did a fair decision.
We spoke before the start about you wanting to put a good performance in tonight. You put a great performance in.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the meeting to carry on. You know, I'm here tonight to score all the points. You know, I was still fighting into top 8, and I had the speed tonight. I felt great. So I'm just happy, you know. I started off the season really good, you know. It would have been nice to finish it off as well good. So, but I came close. I have to be happy with the second place tonight.
I think you made a big statement, proved a big point tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I needed to show the guys that I still belongs to the Grand Prix. So fingers crossed, and hopefully I'm in next year.
See you in New Zealand.
Oh, well, hopefully.
Yeah, he's got to wait for the nomination from the organisers, the likes of Freddie Lindgren, Nicky Pedersen.
I'd be very surprised.
Chris Harris.
I'd be very surprised if he's not given a wild card.
Triple
Nigel,
world champion.
I just sense that the performance tonight, the fact that he's a 3-time world champion, he's still box office, and quite clearly from the interviews he's given tonight, he still has the hunger, the desire to get back into the top 3 in the world. So yeah, I'd be hugely surprised if he doesn't get the opportunity to be in the Grand Prix next year.
Greg Hancock is winner of the meeting and the world champion. He's with Steve.
Greg Hancock, winner on the night, winner on the year. Amazing performance.
You know what, I'm pretty much speechless now. I mean, the weather kind of spoiled the rest of the meeting, but it doesn't matter. I got another win. I'm pretty excited now, and let the celebrations begin.
That was my next question. I mean, how are you feeling right now? Obviously, the championship's sunk in, but, you know, the year you've put together has just been outstanding. You've beaten everyone up. You've been really consistent.
You know what, it's still amazing. It's a great feeling. I know how hard we work. We stayed focused all year, and you know, this time it's all fallen into place, and it's unbelievable. When it's your year, you know, and I'm glad my family's here tonight, and rock and roll, Wilbur and Bill.
Yeah, the family's been a big part of the performance this year as well for you. The home life, everything's worked well.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's all part of the makeup, the crew, everybody that's behind you, and it starts right from home. But this crew that I've got, Raf and Baggio, Richard and Stefan, and everybody that's helped us all year, Mario, it's just been incredible. So I thank everybody. There's a lot of celebrations coming. I hope I don't miss anybody in the process.
I think a lot of celebrations through the winter, but also starting next year, you're going to be back. You're going to be defending the title again.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no plans of going anywhere except starting in New Zealand next March. So let's bring it on again.
Enjoy the celebrations tonight. And how's it going to feel to pick up that new championship trophy, the first man to raise it aloft?
I can taste that thing. You know, I mean, the gold is what it's all about. You know, I can't wait to rub that thing, and I'll polish it, and I might sleep with it. Hope my wife doesn't mind.
We've just seen your wife on the television. A special word for her. She's really, really a big part of your backup.
I love you, babe. You are the best. My therapist, my wife, my everything. So you and the kids, let's party.
You're a special man, Greg. Thank you very much. Enjoy the podium.
I will do. Woo!
Great stuff. Jenny and the children, Wilbur and Bill, here tonight. Congratulations to Greg. World Speedway champion.
World Speedway champion. And at the beginning of last season, it looked like it was going to be all over. He then salvaged his Grand Prix career in the second half of the year, and now he's world champion. Incredible.
Well, Jarek Hampel has finished third in the world, and we continue to hear from the riders now with Steve.
Jarek, another World Championship medal. This time it's a bronze, but again, a very good year for you.
Yeah, that's right. What can I say? I try to fight till the end. I try to get the points every time, every single race. But yeah, in the end, Andras have a good performance, and you know, I was very close with the points in the touch, but still 2 points behind. So that's why I'm third. But I don't want to say anything bad about this, because third place this year is okay.
But 2 very, very good, consistent seasons on a row.
Yeah. What can I say? It's in the end of the season. Now, you know, I start to think in the winter time about the next one to be better.
And A word about the old man, Greg Hancock. He's done a great job this year.
I just can say, you know, he's an amazing guy. Yeah, really.
And do you want to say a quick word in Polish to the fans?
Dobry wieczór, witam wszystkich.
Yeah, he's been a credit, Jarek Hampel. Did a terrific job pushing Greg up until a couple of rounds or so ago.
Indeed he did, and you know, you have to reflect on the fact that Hampel was a Grand Prix rider. He dropped out of the series. He then re-qualified and has come in a much more professional, dedicated, focused man. And second last year, third this year, very consistent. And a potential world champion of the future, you have to say.
Yeah, he's got time on his side, Jarek, no doubt about that. So has Jonsson, second in the world. The Super Swede had a nightmare start to the season with 5 points in Leszno, 6 in Gothenburg, 8 in Prague, 7 in Copenhagen, 5 in Cardiff, and he's now with Steve.
Andreas, your first World Championship medal was a silver one. A great year. Must be very, very encouraged with your performance.
Yeah, I'm very happy, you know. It was a tough start of the season for me. Just after the break, we managed to have a really good season after that and catch up a lot of important points. And it got down to 2 points in the end. And you know, I'm really happy about the finish of my season and really happy about my first medal. It's great, you know. And just would like to say thank you to my team who's been working so hard. Arthur, Dudy and Carl, it's been great to be with you all the season, to traveling with you guys. It's been great, you know, and thanks for all the sponsors who've been helping me and backing me up. You know, I'm really proud of them, and you know, I hope that they will stay with me for next year too.
Just looking at your season and the way the second half has gone, do you believe you can come back in 2012 and go one better?
I really hope so. You know, it's really tough up there, and it really takes a great season to be in the top. But you know, we're working really hard, and I'm going to work and try as hard as I can for next year.
And for all you guys in the pits looking like Greg Hancock, it means you've all got a lot of years left in Grand Prix. But a word about Greg's year from you?
Unbelievable. You know, he's just been good at every Grand Prix. He hadn't had a bad one, really, you know, as I can see it. And you know, he's such a great guy and just rides the bike great. You know, he makes great starts and fast on the track. And he's a great rider, so he deserves to be the number one and to collect the gold medal.
Thanks for your time off to the podium. Well done this year.
Yeah, good work from Andreas.
Yeah,
the rain did stop a little bit, but it's raining again now.
It's back now, and yeah, the right decision has been made. There's no question about that. And Jonsson has done those fans proud this year. They've had to wait a while because they had so much success with Tony Rickardsson winning Grand Prix and World Championships for fun. And Jonsson had to fill some pretty big shoes there. There's no doubt about that. But finally, this year, really beginning to fulfill his potential.
Absolutely. As you can see, plenty of empty seats now. A lot of people have made their way out of the stadium here in Gorzow tonight. And we will have the presentations very shortly. Top 3 on the night and the top 3 in the World Championship as well. Quite enjoyed some of the racing tonight, Kelvin. That one race where Golob was passed and...
Well, Crump had that ride, didn't he, when he stole that win away from Golob, and then that move from Darcy Ward to get up the inside of Nicky Pedersen. That was something very special indeed. And will we see Darcy Ward next year as a Grand Prix rider? That's a big question that he has to come to terms with. There's second and third. Hampel was... I think Hampel took that on the chin, you know. I just sense that he was desperate to try and get the silver medal here in front of his own crowd, but it wasn't to be. And, you know, bottom line is that conditions just are too dangerous right now, and he was very mature in the way he accepted that.
Well, let's just confirm how it's finished now after 11 rounds of the World Championship. That was how it was after 10, and this is what it means now. The final totals: Greg Hancock 165, Jonsson 125, Hampel 123. Jason Crump outside the top 3 for the first time in 10 years. Thomas Golob 5th, level with Emil Saifuganov in the end. Kenneth Bier 7th, level with Chris Holder.
Yeah.
And the top 8 clear cut. They will all ride in the Grand Prix next year. Lindgren, Pedersen, Harris just outside the top 8. They have laid claims to get in as nominations next year.
Well,
and the organisers will be keeping that in consideration very carefully, I'm sure.
Well, here they come, and yeah, you have to say that 9th, 10th and 11th, you have to say I've got a very good chance of being back in the Grand Prix Series next year. And of course then the big question mark over Darcy Ward, will he, won't he? Time will tell. Celebration time now. Nicky Pedersen, good to see smiles on his face. Clearly determined to finish the season off in style, and he did that. 10 points out of 12 from his 4 rides tonight. He's done himself proud tonight. After a difficult season with lots of changes, he's done okay, and I'm sure that the authorities will look along that favourably. Greg Hancock, what can you say? It's just rolling on. He can do no wrong, and things are falling into place. Wins another Grand Prix here this evening. That really is a remarkable record. And Saifutinov, said he had some bad luck this year in his interview, but by and large he's still potentially somebody that's going to be a world champion in the future, no question about that, but he has to stay injury-free. He's just curtailed his progress a wee bit over the last season and a half, as it were, because he just got hurt too many times. So if he stays on the motorbike, stays fit, he'll have something to say about medals in the future for sure.
Yeah, I think the Grand Prix has got an exciting future ahead. Not just because of the fact that it's going genuinely worldwide and not just Europe-wide, but there is an exciting crop of riders preparing to come through, but also the fact that you've got existing top-class riders like Jonsson and Hampel with the potential to become World Speedway champion.
Yeah, Andreas Jonsson has taken his time. He's been around some time. He's 30, 31 now, and got to say that we were looking forward to him doing stuff 4 or 5 years ago, but better late than never. And you've got to say that he is now a genuine man for looking for winning a world championship. Hugs the team. You've got to give a lot of credit to the team, and he has done that. And those 2 Polish boys that have worked for him for a long period of time, they rightly deserve some special congratulations. Terrific scenes.
Yeah, Greg, who's got a lot of his friends from California here tonight, as well as his family. And these are going to be special moments for the new world champion and for Andreas Jonsson as well. First time he's been on the podium in the World Championship. This is on the night now. These are the riders who finished in the top 3 on the night. Emil Saifutinov, good to see him back on the podium.
Yeah. 2 good wins there back-to-back that got him up to 8 points, and by the virtue of having a couple of race wins, he gets the 3rd place on the night, and that'll boost him for the winter. Looking forward to next year. Got another race meeting in Russia, of course. Has to do an awful lot of travelling. Some of those meetings are a long, long way from home. Pedersen, 2nd place on the night. Good to see him with smiles, still keen to do well in the Grand Prix.
He'll be absolutely delighted to be on the podium after the run of form that he's had, or lack of form, should I say.
Yeah.
And hugely popular here in Gorzow, a Gorzow rider, of course, and, well, didn't we know it tonight with the way he rode that track. He was passed by Darcy Ward, but that aside, he was brilliant tonight.
Yeah, started in fine style, winning his opening ride, but then showed plenty of tenacity, and he had plenty of speed to pick up 10 points on the night. The main man can do no wrong.
So Greg Hancock wins the GP on the night, as well as the world title itself. So it's a double celebration tonight for Greg. So...
well, he's just in heaven, isn't he? Like he probably just cannot quite believe what is happening to him for so long. Bearing in mind, take away the fact that he's winning Grand Prix and he's won another World Championship, he's ridden in every single Grand Prix. That in itself is remarkable.
Astonishing. To think that halfway through last season, I was thinking, well,
it's all over.
Greg will never be world champion again. But here he is. And now, the national anthem of the USA. Well, great night for Greg Hancock, great night's work. We will never know who would have won a grand final, of course, here, but Greg, top scorer after 4 rides each. And this the first of a double celebration. Winner of the Grand Prix and also world champion. We'll have a separate presentation in a few minutes for the World Championship itself. And we will be hearing from the world champion as he holds his trophy, because that, Kelvin, I'm sure, you've been a world champion yourself, I'm sure that is the moment when it truly sinks in.
It does, and it's a very proud moment and one that you will never ever forget. It's a special time in your life, and he's the best rider in the world, and it's when you wake up in the morning and just realise that you are the very best at what you do. Nobody does it better than you at that time, and that is quite something special, you know, and very satisfying. And there's only a very few people in the world that actually experience that. So yeah, Greg Hancock, happy days for him, fully deserved.
You have just joined us, by the way. The meeting here was abandoned after 16 heats in Gorzow. And the Grand Prix rules say that once you've completed 16 heats, the result does stand. Greg Hancock 11, Mickey Pedersen 10, Emil Saifuganov 8. The Hancock family out in force here for the very special moment. Of course, he's won the league in Sweden, Poland, Denmark and the Czech Republic as well. Everything Greg Hancock touches turns to gold. What a year it's been. His wife Jenny and the children, yeah, they're winners. They're winners, all right. Absolutely sensational.
You know, when you talk about Greg Hancock, he up sticks and moved to Sweden. He reinvented himself out here, and certainly for a long period of time it didn't look like he was going to get a second world title, but got to say that he clearly never lost belief. And this year, well, he seems to have got the belief back about winning races. You know, he was always there or thereabouts, very consistent, doing a great job. But that's great scenes, you know, and family support. I can tell you, as my own personal experience, having a really good, solid family support behind you is really important, you know, because there are a lot of sacrifices that his wife and children make for Greg to enable him to be world champion, and it is hugely important to have a strong unit behind you.
Yeah. The winning sign. Team Hancock are winners. Family Hancock are winners. What a great shot that is. And yeah, as you say, when you're away from home so often as well, Kelvin, as a professional speedway rider, you need the support of people back home without a doubt. As you well know, you did it for many years, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's got that, and there's no question that he will be back next year. Hampel, of course, with a good smile on his face. You've got to say, he's done himself third this time around. Looking for second place, of course, didn't quite manage to do it. But he'll be back, and he's a rider with plenty of time on his side nights, and you just sense a great reception. Home crowd here, plenty of them have stayed to see their man step on the rostrum.
Absolutely, yeah. Brilliant stuff from Jarek Hampel, top-class rider.
Yeah.
The bronze medal will go his way, and he'll be back with the belief that he can become world champion next year. Andreas Jonsson, the runner-up, the silver medal will go to him after a sparkling run of form in the second half of the season after the World Cup break. The silver medal for AJ is a terrific achievement. And the World Speedway Champion for 2011, 14 years after he last won the World Championship at the ripe old age of 41, is Greg Hancock of the USA. #1, and what a story it is for World Speedway. Who says nice guys can't win in Speedway, Kelvin?
Well, he's just proved that theory completely wrong. He's thrown it out of the window. And, you know, I can remember Greg coming over to the UK and starting his British career in the late 80s. You could see he had talent, but I don't think he always believed that he was good enough to stay. I tell you what, he's hung around and he's been mightily impressive. And as I say, all credit to him. You run out of superlatives to actually describe him, but he is a super nice guy, always approachable. Often is the last man to leave the pits when he's chatting with supporters, always gives his time freely. That man's had a great season, 3 Grand Prix wins in the second half of the year. But yeah, Greg Hancock fully deserves, and he's a great communicator. He will be, well, he'll do the sport proud as a world champion, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do hope that we'll see an appearance from Greg in the UK in a couple of meetings. Doesn't ride in the league there, but it would be wonderful to see Greg make an appearance or two in meetings in the UK as world champion. That'd be great to see. And well, this is the moment he's been working for over the 11 rounds
and now the World Championship trophy will be presented
of the World Championship. Now the brand new World Championship trophy, specially commissioned earlier this year, is being presented to the new World Champion. This is the moment he's been waiting for, Kelvin.
Yeah, this will be very sweet indeed. And yes, he's known he's World Champion a couple of weeks ago, but it will now finally be sinking in with the new World Champions Pro Trophy. That is a terrific trophy. I've stood next to that a couple of times. It is a gorgeous bit of work, there's no doubt about that. And Greg Hancock gets his hands on it. You say 11 rounds tonight, he's been working for the last 14 years for this day. And I tell you what, you can't take it away from him. He's the top man on the night, top man on the year.
The sweet taste of success for Greg Hancock. Let the celebrations begin. It's a champagne moment here in Gorzow. Well, the rain has been pouring down and now it's raining champagne on the podium.
The rain actually momentarily stopped, but it's now raining again, and so, but they won't care. None of those boys will care, particularly the man on the top step of the rostrum. And, you know, we're going to hear from him again. It'll be interesting to see exactly what he says now that he's finally got his hands on the World Championship trophy. But they won't be, can't think that anybody's going to be aggrieved that Greg Hancock is world champion for the second time. Of course, his best buddy, of course, Billy Hamill was world champion back in '96. They rode together. I'm sure he'll be immensely proud of his good friend Greg Hancock being able to secure a second world title. You'll know all about that, of course. You would have watched those two boys roaring round Cradley Heath on many Saturday nights.
Yeah, it was absolute delight to be involved there at Cradley all those years ago. I was actually the track announcer, and seeing the boys do the business in Cradley colours was something special. It was a great combination, Hancock and Hamill. And of course, Cradley had Bruce Pennell as world champion as well, back in the early 80s.
Oh, they had a fabulous run, didn't they? Eric Gunderson, Jano Pedersen, they had some wonderful riders there. And certainly Greg now is certainly one of those riders that will be revered in that part of the world, no question about that. They'll be desperate for him to come over and see him, there's no doubt about that, and it'll be interesting to see if he does come across to the UK and have a couple of outings, but he's going to be a wanted man. Every country in the world is going to want to see the world champion Greg Hancock racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Pictures that you'll see in the Speedway Star magazine and on websites, newspapers all around the world. His family will be taking a photograph as well, I'm sure. But it is quite a story. 14 years and now the oldest ever world champion. In a sport where the demands have become greater, you have to be super fit to be a professional speedway rider.
Very good point you've just come up with there. Every fortnight you've got to be prepared to put your body on the line every time. You have to lift yourself for a huge effort every time, and this man at 41 has still retained the enthusiasm, the belief to go on and do it, and he's managed to do it, and he succeeded when everybody around him potentially last year, a lot of people were potentially riding him both, but this year he's been absolutely inspired, he's made great starts, the confidence there. Often, you know, I remember the final in Cardiff when Nicky Pedersen pushed him so hard in the first corner, and Hancock had the skill and the determination to roar around the outside to hit it, get himself to the front and win again. And yep, that smile, as you just said, Nige, a sweet taste of success, big time.
The grin. And now the family arrive. Well, these will be very special shots for Greg that he'll
be on the
treasure for the rest
they?
of his life. Yeah, absolutely. His wife Jenny and Wilbur and Bill, the children. Well, this is what it's all about. The family who make great sacrifices in support of a Speedway rider to back their man. What a special moment for family Hancock.
It seems to be extra special, doesn't it, when you consider the career of the man. And, you know, against the odds, when a lot of people will have written him off, certainly in 2010, a lot of people have written him off, and he bounced back in fine style, refocused. I think he hit the nail on the head, didn't he, when he talked about that the team and him have been focused all year long. And that is obviously, that focus has rewarded him with the ultimate prize.
Absolutely. Makes it all worthwhile when you see pictures like this. They are pictures to be treasured forever by family Hancock. Real team effort. He makes that point in every interview, how important his family are, how important his pit crew are, his backup team. It's not just about the man on the bike, it's about everybody else that helps make it possible for Greg Hancock. And what a year it has been. A fairy tale year for the American, with his league title successes and
just
the World
reflecting on the
Championship.
year, you know, he went into the summer break with a healthy lead, and then he came out after the World Cup. Of course, he's not involved in the World Cup, and you just sense he had a couple of little indifferent performances, and was he beginning to wobble? But that performance in Voyens, that really was something out of the top
I think that
drawer.
was the defining night.
That was, absolutely. 31-point lead coming away from Denmark there. Really did manage, well, that sealed it up, didn't it?
Yep, well, Greg Hancock with the trophy is with Steve.
Greg Hancock, fair to say, it's really sinking in now.
Consider it sunk, man. This is a great day, one of the best days of my life. So thank you, everybody. This is just fantastic, man. You guys are wonderful.
Nothing rude in the lip reading, but you kept saying this thing's heavy.
This thing is really heavy, you know, and but that's okay. I can get strong. I can practice lifting it all winter. I'll enjoy it, every minute of it.
As a final word for you, what does it mean after such a long career, so much hard work, good times, disappointing times, to win the World Championship again?
You know, I mean, it's so much work, it's so much focus, and I mean, there's mechanics that have been with me for a long time, and some that have, Jeff Nielsen is here as well, who used to work for me for a long time in Sweden, but these guys have supported me for so long, and I can't say thanks enough to my crew, Rafael, Baggio, Stefan, Richard, everybody, Mario, everyone. I hope I don't leave anybody out, but all of you guys, I love you. You're the best.
Just, you're going to come back next year and defend the championship again. All the energy, all the enthusiasm, all over.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm charged up. We've already started talking about next year, as crazy as we are, but that's what it's all about. And now we're going to have some fun tonight. Then tomorrow we're going to go celebrate, and hopefully we're going to get to watch Maciej Janowski lift a crown as well.
Well done this year, sir. You've been a tremendous ambassador for Speedway. Greg Hancock, world champion. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Love you. Woo!
Yeah, Maciej Janowski is a rider that Greg rates very highly and has supported Janowski throughout his career. The Swindon rider who will be defending a lead in the World Under-21 final last round here in Poland tomorrow.
Yes.
And Janowski the clear favourite to go on and win that World Championship.
He's got an outstanding chance. He's got a 9-point lead, and there's no doubt that he is in the driving seat. If he can hold it together, the Poles will have another young, up-and-coming world champion, no question about that.
Well, the fans making their way out of the Edward Janssart Stadium here in Gorzow now. A meeting that was cut short, but the rain hasn't dampened the celebrations for Hampel Jonsson, and in particular the new world champion Greg Hancock. And the meeting that we did get, 16 heats, there was some good racing, It wasn't pretty early on, but it was entertaining in part as well. Plenty of Greg's friends from California, his backup crew as well, all enjoying the celebrations here.
Yeah, they are, and you know, his friends that have travelled over from California, what a way to repay them. You know, not only has he won the World Championship, he wins on the night as well. You know, they are, as I said before, they must be in seventh heaven. These are just dream days for him, and clearly emotional times as well. You know, those guys that clean and prepare the bikes, travel, drive through the night after night, week after week, doing the business. They're tough games, Speedway, you know, it really is. You put your body on the line. And that's why it's so remarkable that he's managed to come to every Grand Prix since its inception back in 1995, stayed out of trouble, you know, because the sport is strewn with all sorts of injuries at times, but that man somehow miraculously stays out of trouble, and he is still a winner. So that is truly something very special indeed.
Well, he has to climb up onto the truck. Needs to watch the knee because he's going to have an operation on that knee to get as much rehab time as he can in time for
he's getting on a
New
bit
Zealand.
now, isn't he? You know, so
I know that feeling.
He's got to be careful. I was a bit concerned about the trophy there, just sort of hanging off the back of the tailgate on that pickup, but it's securely back in his hands now. But I don't think that smile is going to disappear until probably March next year.
Yep, he'll head back to California during the winter as well to prepare. But a Californian sunshine will help his preparations, I'm sure. So, Tina Turner, Simply the Best, reverberates around the Eddie Ansart Stadium here in Gorzow. And what a way to end the season as well, by winning the Grand Prix, albeit cut short to 16 heats, but what a way.
It is. It's a remarkable time for him, and it's a remarkable time for Speedway. You know, we're witnessing a man who is, you know, just absolutely outstanding in his field, and that itself has been rewarded with a gold medal, and every accolade that comes his way is well and truly well earned. You know, spectacular stuff.
Tremendous achievement, a great night. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the Grand Prix of Poland. My thanks to Kelvin as we disappear for a winter to prepare for next year. The Edward Jansart Stadium in Gorzow, the scene for the final Grand Prix of the year. Round number 11, threatened by rain. It was persistent throughout the afternoon. Greg Hancock, the new world champion, signing autographs. Jason Crump chasing a podium position, and lots at stake for Pedersen and Chris Holder. The rain did clear. There was a 10-minute delay to the start of the meeting as new material was put down on the racetrack. Thankfully, the Gorzow track staff did a great job, and Hancock and his pit crew were able to begin celebrations as new world champion. And as the track settled down, there was some pretty entertaining action. Rune Holter, out of luck early on, lost control of the bike after Chris Harris had led the initial staging of the race. But Harris missed out second time around. Nicky Pedersen returned to top form, and Greg Hancock, the new champion, winning races for fun. Andreas Jonsson putting pressure on Jarek Hampel for that second spot. The silver medal very much on the line between Jonsson and home favourite Hampel. Track work continued in between races as the meeting progressed, and there was a weather forecast of more rain to come, so it was good that the meeting was run at a pretty fast pace, and Crump with one of the races of the night getting the better of Golub on the line. Hampel could see his chances of the silver medal disappearing. Nicky Pedersen continuing to send a message to the organisers that he wants to be back next year, and Golub with a super ride to win that one ahead of Artem Laguta and celebrated on one wheel. Then there was an exclusion as Harris went into Thomas Golub. He was excluded, and Harris finished on 7 points in the end. The rain started to come down again. The meeting was in serious jeopardy. Jonsson had done enough to claim the silver medal in the 2011 World Championship. Hancock, the winner of the Grand Prix, declared after 16 heats, with Pedersen second and Seifuddinov third. But the World Championship overall, Hampel third, Jonsson second, and the new world champion, Greg Herbie Hancock.